I'm gonna wait till it appears on YouTube, I think. Oh boy, the moment of truth. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and there's way too many people for me to actually introduce, so I'm going to let them do it. But let me just quickly say, welcome one, welcome all to all of the guests. Directions are going to be very hard, so this way, down, everybody here. Thank you all for the creators, and of course, you guys watching, whether it be live or afterwards watching the video. Thank you. This is quite the event. A Christmas-like thing. We got the background. I want to make sure I shout it out. AJ Draws, and he did this a long time ago. He said we could do whatever we wanted with it, and I felt, well, we have a background to be used. Let's use it. So here we go. And so let's go just in order, and I'll probably switch the order up with questions so it's not just the same thing. But for now, we'll just stick with what we have. Introduce yourselves, guys, and we'll go from there. All of their links, I guess, before we start, are in the description. If you haven't followed anybody, all their @signs, just click it. It'll take you to their channel, and that's it. So let's introduce everybody, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, I am Hogwarts Legacy Explained. I waste so many hours just playing the old Harry Potter games, waiting for Hogwarts Legacy to come out. So if you enjoy them games, come check me out, I guess.
Hi everyone, I'm Last Marauder, UK-based Harry Potter content creator. Most of my videos have been around Hogwarts Legacy recently. I'm a Ravenclaw, and I'm very excited to be here amongst this Hogwarts Legacy royalty.
Ravenclaw hype in the chat. Hey y'all, I'm Prof Lynette. I do Wizard PhD on the internet, Hogwarts Legacy stuff, of course. But also, if you like to reread the Harry Potter series, I'm reading it one chapter at a time every week. Come hang out.
Okay. I'm Lamorak, and Hogwarts Legacy content creator, proud Gryffindor. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Ben Snow. I'm a Hufflepuff. Absolutely love Hogwarts Legacy. Excited. Yeah. Excited to be here. This is epic.
I've seen you somewhere recently, Ben.
This is like the worst person to follow, the big dog, the man of the moment here. Like, hi everyone. I'm Andy. I cover Hogwarts and a few other kind of RPG genre games on the channel, but main focus is going to be Hogwarts in the next couple of months. Can't wait for the game. You have to bear with me. I'm suffering so bad with winter flu at the moment, so I'm running on just pure caffeine, but I'm really happy to be here. Everyone in the chat is super hyped. I'm super hyped, so can't wait to get stuck in.
What's up, everybody? I'm the Nightly Nerd. I don't even know how I came up with that name, but I did, and it's really weird. But you can also call me Nate. I try to stream Thursdays about 3 p.m. I've been a little bit bad with that recently, but we'll get there. Hogwarts Legacy content. Super excited for the game. Also, a proud Gryffindor.
Nice. Back-to-back Gryffindors then. People of the internet, Retro Raconteur here. I'm just a dad who loves games and the stories they tell. And I'm a dad tonight. So my kids, they're just directly on the other side of the camera. They're playing Mario right now. They're good. They're settled. But if you guys see me step aside for a minute, you never know how it's going to go with an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. But they said something about being hungry. I don't know. They might need to be fed at some point, I guess. But yeah, this is awesome, Alex. Thanks so much for getting us all together. Honestly, I'm shocked that we were able to get everybody on at the same time. Impressive.
Yeah, I'm a dad too. I got 2 kids by myself. Sue's out of town, but this your boy James over Expecto Go, bringing you guys latest greatest in Hogwarts Legacy content, and I'm excited to be here with everyone, talking all things Hogwarts Legacy and your resident Merlin conspiracy theorist as well. So let's get started.
Who just dropped a major Merlin thread on Twitter that I think is gonna well.
Someone pointed out that there are no Slytherins on any of us.
True.
Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy.
I didn't say.
Okay.
I think I'm the only one actually. I think
Chandler as well.
Yeah, of course. We need to change the rep. It's not a bad house. It's not a bad house. But yes, I am so I think I'm me and Chandler. Is there anybody else actually? Anybody else in Slytherin house that you know? Oh my days.
Creators or anybody? I can't think of anybody.
Dark magic all the way. Here we go. All right.
I think we need to clarify too. Did James say Sue was on a business trip?
Oh my god. Oh my
Business
god.
trip, you know, anytime you say business trip around here, everybody's like,
I
what?
can't say business trip ever again, like ever. But she is.
Oh, it's all good.
So, how's everybody feel coming off of? And we have the man of the hour live with us, but how does everybody feel about the gameplay showcase? Any quick highlights, or just maybe an overall, view of what you thought of it?
Fantastic. That's all I'm
It was
gonna
so
say.
good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Amazing. I'm pretty sure I said I can't over and over and over just because I could not believe what they were showing us. And so, Ben, you freaking out was also me freaking out. I would not have been able to keep my cool.
The ceiling in the room of requirement, that's everything. Seriously, that just absolutely blew my mind.
Mm.
And
I was
you
channeling
said-
Macaulay Culkin the whole time. I was just sat there like,
Yeah.
And Ben, you even said we never expected. I mean, we had like speculated about so much.
Yeah.
But like customizing the room of requirement, I mean, that completely blew me away as well.
Yeah.
It totally answered the questions when we had, like, in State of Play that they had. We were Gryffindor, but in there we had Slytherin banners. Like, oh,
Right.
you can customize those little things.
Right.
But yes, and so much more than that.
I was happy to finally have sound, I guess, kind of highlighted a little bit more than my previous one. And you got to hear the flight and the wind and just even the steps and a little bit of dialogue within the townsfolk and stuff. Like, I thought just the soundscape, the sound effects, obviously, once you got to the battle arena, I've been talking to Retro about that. Just hearing those sound effects and the dialogue from goblins and stuff, just hearing the game, I think, for me, kind of just stood out and was the best part for sure.
I think just off the back of James there, like for me, it looks like Scotland, and I'm super impressed. Like my mum's actually Scottish, so I've been up to that neck of the woods so many times in my life, into the Hebrides, Highlands, Lowlands, and stuff. And when I was actually watching this preview, I genuinely felt like I was back there. So like, massive props to the team, like in Salt Lake. I honestly, I don't know if anybody's actually been there, but it shows to me that they understand like what this environment is supposed to look like in terms of immersion, and I thought that looked absolutely superb. Like, I'm immersed. I want to go and visit Scotland in game. Like, I think it looks sick. So yeah, big tick for me on the environmental kind of point of view, I would say, to be honest. I think it's great.
Anybody else who didn't go that wants to go? We didn't go in orders. Now it's confusing. No, I agree with you guys. The sound was really, specifically the spells, like just, firing them off, I thought was like perfect. And that's that extra stuff that, again, I don't know how many people outside of the Wizarding World fandom cares, but like just hearing it is that extra level of depth. Super, super cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody on this call here already knows, but in case any of the audience don't know this, they actually posted, I don't know if it was just IGN or if anybody else posted this, but there is footage with no commentary at all. So what James is talking about there, being able to hear all these sounds. I mean, you can hear the spells that are being cast, spells that hadn't been confirmed yet. We're getting the icon, and so then you can see which one's activated right when they say it. So we're starting to be able to piece together what's what in terms of the spells and everything. So if you haven't checked that out, it adds a whole different dimension to what we saw. I mean, Crucio alone, the screams, like the goblins there on the ground just crying out in pain. I did not
might
expect
offend
that.
a certain IGN
I
writer.
know, right? They're the ones who posted the unedited footage, ironically. But.
Yeah, they also posted the flight as well. No dialogue, just sound. I mean, just everything. You hear him talking, you hear the people, you hear the flight, you hear the hippogriff, you hear the broom, like you hear all of it without any dialogue. So again, just the immersion part for sure. Check it out. It's on oddly enough IGN. So yeah,
that's so I thought that was just them adding some music. I didn't really watch completely the IGN versions, but that's cool. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, like the spells shouting out and everything.
But even during the showcase, just I love the sound. I'm making a video now how like the anvil hits the person.
Yeah.
It's just doink. It's just so satisfying. Every spell, every blast is satisfying, and it just adds on top of like immersion into the combat. I love it.
Just on that, actually, one thing that I was super hyped and pleased to see is, and it was a concern I had in terms of a gameplay point of view when it comes to combat, is all of these enemies kind of queuing up to kind of wait to fire the spell at you. I didn't actually see that. I saw multiple different enemies kind of not queuing, but just jumping in and cracking on with their kind of rotation of spells, really making the combat quite fluid and engaging. And I thought that was a massive positive for me, because that was a big concern. I honestly thought it may be like one of the old Assassin's Creed games where all the enemies are just kind of waiting around, waiting to jump in after you finish with one. So massive props to the dev team there. I think it looks like a massive duel, a massive battle in that arena, and I think they've done that really well.
Yeah. Quick thing to a couple of house cleaning kind of things. Number one, we are going to take questions from the chat as we go along. Obviously, as you see the banner, the super chats go first. Also, because there's so many of us, generally we want to try to stick to like yes or no. I'm not saying like so far so good, but I'm just saying for questions in the future from like the chat and stuff, that's probably just going to work easier, and so we can get through more and more of them just to be able to say yes, agree or disagree or whatever. So with that being said, there was a couple already. Let's get to, and then we'll circle back. The gameplay showcase couldn't have probably happened at a better time, because there's plenty we can just ask each other about. But of course, and I love controversy, so this makes a lot of sense. Do you think gaming outlets will lowball this game in reviews and previews? Yes, no, probably suits this question actually rather well. I think the answer is yes, and we'll just go down the line.
100% yes. Lots of controversy with this game surrounding stuff. So, yeah, we've had a first taste with the IGN stuff. I've had a bit of fun with that today. So, yeah.
Yeah, sadly, I agree. I think they're trying to keep politically correct as much as possible, and if that means going on this game, then they probably will.
Also yes, but also I don't care.
Good answer.
Yeah, I definitely think they will, but which is really sad, because if they're like real gamers, they would play the game and be like, oh, this is good, real report. But I feel like they're just really not going to play it and just sort of ride it. Like they might actually play it, but like a lot of people will be doing negative reviews when they've never even played it, which is really annoying to see.
I say yes, and it's happening right now, like with IGN, but it's also very double-sided, because yes, they post that article at the same time they go very fast, downloading the clip, splitting it into 3 parts, and posting without any effort done to it except just that, and they just take the views and take the money. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I agree with everyone so far. I think that's going to be a pretty much given, to be honest with you. But I also think it doesn't really matter. I think this game has already sold crazy amounts. I think it will sell even more. And the devs know that they've got a really engaged, loyal community base who want to play this game and want to explore their hard work. And I think they'll just, shrug it off. And I think probably the reviews will balance out over time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I also think yes, but I've seen a trend a little bit already, because I sit on YouTube for all day, and people just don't cover the game. And I think that's what a lot of outlets are going to do, is either make it low priority or just not even cover it at all. So we might not see some reviews from some of the bigger outlets.
Yeah, I agree as well. I will say, I think this recent showcase has kind of opened some people's eyes who may have not been as hyped for the game as they were. People who aren't Harry Potter super fans, but who just like, this. Truth be told, the Harry Potter games don't have a great history in terms of top-notch video games. I see Hogwarts Legacy explained. Some of those games are hard to get through, but I've already seen some people and seen some comments from people saying, people who didn't think this was going to be that great after the showcase are suddenly more interested. So hopefully we'll get some of that too. People being like, oh, wow, this has actually got the potential to be a really good game.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everybody. And piggybacking off what Retro was saying, I actually was looking at comments today on some of the outlets, GameSpot, IGN, and stuff, and a lot of people were surprised how well the game looked. So Yeah, your reviews and critics are going to be critics and reviewers, but that's what's so clutch about us as a group. You know, if you're a fan of the game, enjoying the game, you can come hang out with us and get nerdy. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think everybody well said. Thanks, Andy, for representing the green and silver.
Yes. Get in.
Self-Elden.
Everyone's thoughts on water interaction and water-based creatures. I mean, we can simplify it for swimming, but I think, well, water interaction, I do think would be considered swimming. So probably yes or no. I mean, it keeps going back and forth for me. I'm still gonna lie on you can swim like just on the the tip of the water, but you can't actually dive. That'll be my.
I want it, but yeah, the further and further we get to it, I was watching your video the other day, Alex, and I thought the exact same thing when they got quite close to the water on the broom.
Yeah.
I
was
thought,
like, just
right,
step in, just
yeah,
do it.
we're going to see it, and then I felt so deflated. I'm going no now, unfortunately. I don't think we'll have it.
I think swim, but not underwater. Possibly a DLC.
I'm gonna keep my hope. Like, I'm gonna hope that they're just holding it for the magic of seeing underwater. I'll just hold out for it.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I don't think we'll be able to go under. I think swimming is almost a guarantee just because of how many, like, we see little like islands in the middle of water and stuff. Like, I think it makes sense to have swimming, but going under just seems like a stretch that not a lot of video games do. But if they do it, it'll be breathtaking.
Yeah, I totally my thoughts as well. I think yes, but surface, not diving.
Did you have anything to say? Like, because so already two of us kind of thought the same thing when we were watching it. Like, you're in the group with everybody. But was there a part of you, or did you rehearse earlier, and like, did you think, Ben, about like the water's right there, like just
no, they could have, but I mean.
Yeah.
I saw what you guys saw, so I was like, no. But at the same time, like, keep in mind that they didn't want to show me anything,
right,
because I wouldn't be able to then speculate or theorize or anything.
Yeah.
So they wanted to keep my content being possible.
Yeah.
The number of times I backseat Andrew while we're seeing this, I'm just like, go, just go. You're right there. Just slam into someone. Go dive in.
I'm gonna watch Ben and James very closely here. I think
your body language.
I think they may be under NDA here, so I'm gonna say yes to underwater, right? And the reason why I say that, I've been on the fence about it, but it takes me back to when I think Chandler, well, it reminds me when Chandler was teasing in the Slytherin common room. And you remember when we saw the kind of just spell pinging off inside the Slytherin common room windows under the Black Lake, right? And if you zoom in closely onto that video image, you can see animations of fish and seaweed floating around. Now, of course, that may just be the animations for that particular part of the map underwater to give it a little bit more immersion. Of course, fine. But it says to me that those animations have been built underwater, and it might just be there. James, are you? So logically, like, to me, they've gone to the effort to perhaps do that underwater for certain assets, and also with the recent gameplay showcase, I was really impressed with a lot of the exploration, and also because there is just so much water in this game, I think it would be really difficult and perhaps not upsetting, but a bit of a tease to have all of this water-based content and not be able to at least dip our head underneath and go for a little bit of submersion, especially when there's so much lore underwater in the Harry Potter universe. But I've also got to say that I've got to manage expectations with an open world game this big. You're kind of making two games. You're making one above the surface, and then you're making another one below the surface. So in that regard, I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards underwater being kind of in the game, but perhaps in certain areas. I'm not so sure. But yeah, that's me.
I got to say, I was in Expecto Go's stream the other day, and a question came up that asked, do you know things you're not telling us? And he responded, yes. So I think watching their reactions here would be a big thing. But I definitely agree with Andy that, I mean, Pokemon, the new one just did it, and it runs at 10 frames per second, where you can go on top of water. And Call of Duty is now doing it where you can actually dip under. But before, it was if you stepped in the water, you just died. I don't think Hogwarts Legacy is going to do that. So I think you will be able to just go over the top of the water and maybe DLC for underneath.
Can you imagine how IGN spins that in like underwater? You have to pay to dive.
Listen, I'm taking a break from IGN for a good little bit here.
I have been for a year. I switched to Gamer Ranks from IGN. I don't know.
Yeah, before I would have said no, but man, they've just been surprising me time and time again. So I'll see comments, you know, on the YouTube comments, and I'm just like, I'm not ruling out anything at this point because I just keep getting surprised by different things. So I will also point out the giant squid on the art book. That's such a tease. I mean, so
it is.
And that, of course, you know, I guess you could say if you're by the lake, but I'll stick with what some of the rest of you said. I'll say swim, but not going under.
I will agree with everybody. Swim.
I guess
all right.
You gotta make him go first.
Yeah, let's reverse the order on the next one.
So
James already has a copy of the game.
That's underwater confirmed then. So nice one.
No, like honestly though, during that stream, I think it's that same stream. We were doing a lot of comps in comparison to Hogwarts Legacy and other games, and I got a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. Granted, I've been playing it like 24/7 as of late, but just with the environments and the areas, and that too has a lot of water and stuff, but you can just swim over the top and not really go into water. I can see them like kind of pulling some of the stuff from there. They already did with R2 mechanics for spell casting, so that's my pitch there.
You lost your mind at the showcase.
Nice.
Battle of Hogwarts in-game, yes or no? Let's go in reverse order. So starting with James.
Yes.
So it's in the game. Should we go to the next question?
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next question? That's being asked.
Andy. Let's move on.
This is dangerous.
Well, I was going to say, Ben had a great video on
why.
about the whole before. I guess that was, I don't know, maybe it was before Ben went to Avalanche. Maybe it was after. But Ben made a great video on the whole concept of the Battle of Hogwarts.
He did.
I say yes, though.
I agree. I think it'll be the split endings. And I think one version will be good ending, one will be bad.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Knightley, as well, mate. I think it's in the game because we've seen obviously that Battle of Hogwarts reference back in the developer Autodesk presentation like months ago. So there's got to be a reason why they've put that in there for sure. Because I think everything else that they mentioned is actually being confirmed already. So I think it's in there in some capacity. And I agree with Knightley as well. I think it's going to be that, okay, do you want to be a goodie or do you want to be a baddie to kind of finish off the game?
I will say this. I know nothing, and I still believe Battle of Hogwarts is in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they would just put it in there as like a placeholder, and it's like, that'd be a weird placeholder. So yeah, I definitely think it will be. And I think they're going to have to be some sort of high stakes ending, and that just really be perfect to sort of top off the story.
Agree with all of y'all. And I mean, Hogwarts is the centerpiece of the game, Hogwarts Legacy, you know, so this is it. I agree.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think what path you take depends on which side you're going to be on as well.
Yeah, same with all the rest of the guys. I think he'll be there. Nothing more.
There's been such diversity in all of our answers. Every time.
I know.
We're just all on the same page by now.
Yeah.
Wait, so do we all think there's multiple endings? Is that what I'm getting?
Well, I think
you tell us, James. You tell us.
Yes, do you think there's multiple endings?
I think the split would come in all of us because we've had kind of mini discussions with groups of us before in how impactful Like each end, like where does the split actually go? Does it end in something where they'd have a huge problem making a second game? That I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk for all 9 of you, but I think we all think there's a split, but just how big of it.
Mm.
There you go. You
And I
got
mean-
all 9 nods, so I'm sure.
And Alan said in the showcase with James, I mean, he said changes, like depending on some of the choices. And then
Yeah.
Chandler jumped in
Yeah.
and said, and then some of them are just you being mean to
Yeah.
a random
Zenobia.
student.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But also,
So I think-
yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good, Ben. Go.
But
for it.
also, like in this one, like this is the arena where you can practice dark arts, and you don't have impact or anything. So outside of it, it does. Then is that what you're saying?
Well, they've
You know
always
what I'm
been
saying?
pretty odd in how the game recognizes your decisions, which I've never been too, because it's not a full on, they remember every single thing you do. That I think we're just honestly going to have to play like 2, 3, 4 hours and see how characters interact and stuff to get that.
I think there'll be a definitive ending, but I think the choices you make depends on who makes it to that ending, sort of Mass Effect style.
Oh,
Mm.
that's
I
probably the
still-
biggest branching so far said. Because
I
Mass
mean,
Effect could go in a lot of different ways with the last mission of 2.
I still stay on the same thing we discussed with Alex last time, that it will be one ending. But so you will be able to kind of branch out on different paths you take during your thing, but it will bring you to one single ending. Still, like a character, a villain will be captured or in prison, killed by you or someone else, regardless what you choose. So there still will be one ending. That
Are we sorry, are we going down? I mean, I don't want to just to
I
kind
will
of
go.
agree, but I actually completely agree with all of you. So like, I think, that makes sense to me. And I think just having that one definitive ending and then you kind of altering it in some way allows you to see kind of like multiple cutscenes, because you've seen, you know, that's actually, that kind of mechanics happened in several games, that the actual RPG ending kind of just alters slightly, and that's why you see a lot of those games online on YouTube where their cutscenes are kind of posted, because you see all the different types of ending. Even though, let's say, you're all going into the final room, the final arena where the game ends, there is subtle different versions of that particular ending. So we'll all get to that point, but then how we decide to interact in those final moments of the game is us having that unique experience to then end the game. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I don't know if I mean endings, because kind of like how Ben's talking, I think there will be one definitive ending, and we've talked about before how I think it's probably going to be like Breath of the Wild, where it resets you right before that mission once you complete that mission, so you can go explore the grounds and do whatever you want to do. So I think there will be that one ending, and it'll probably be a good ending so they can make sequels, but there'll probably be a split in there sometime where you can either go good or bad for a while and then kind of steer your back into the one ending.
With everything they've showed recently, I'm almost thinking, what if it's the opposite? It's like we're just this evil dark lord that they have to eradicate from history, and that's why. I mean, I just
that's
can't
why
get
we
over some of
don't
the
know
stuff
about
we
us.
saw. Yeah, that's why we're never mentioned throughout the rest of history. But I don't know, man. I get the feeling that there's going to be at least 2 endings, and they'll deal with a sequel. You know, I mean, they can't even say for sure if a sequel's happening. I think they clearly want to do one, but I mean, there've been plenty of games. I always go back to like Infamous, did a great job of making it to where there were like distinct endings, but still it kind of came together.
But
where you
it
could
did
start
backfire in 2 because
Right.
they completely abandoned it.
They had to just
second
choose
time.
one, right? They
Yeah.
just had to pick one. Yeah.
But remember the game originally, when it was leaked, it was rumored to be called Hogwarts A Dark Legacy. So I feel like they still wanted to follow that darker path, and it looks like they do. They have this darker path, and we just don't know that it might be a more main of a storyline.
Good thoughts. How come there's a delay in the game for the PS4? I just assume it's because there's too many things to make it on. I don't know if any of you guys have any thoughts on the.
Nah.
I
not a
think
great-
it's just tough for them to make it happen on.
Yeah, it's like
on-
7 or 8 different platforms. It's too much. In my controversial opinion, it shouldn't have happened, and it's just
Yeah.
part of the industry's problem in general.
It does suck. It was just like, wait, what? Like some people, like it sucks. It sucks that some people are now have to go ask for refund because the early access was the only reason they got the deluxe edition. Or well,
Mhm.
yeah. So that sucks, and I hate that they will have to wait. But I don't
Stay
know.
off the internet 2 months. That's a big thing for
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah.
We'll have to be making like spoiler-free videos just so people can see something
Nightly
besides
news,
put
absolutely
in
not.
spoiler alert. Yeah.
So
It's
I tweeted out my most controversial tweet, and that's been saying a lot from me recently.
You've been pretty controversial lately.
Yeah.
You're trying to
You're
dethrone
getting
me?
in fights
Yeah,
left and
true.
right.
Listen, I'm just unhinged. I knew it was going to happen at some point. And I saw the darkest people on the internet. And the simple tweet was just like, it should have just been delayed across the board. And a lot of people agreed with me. And a lot of people said a lot of bad stuff. Actually, a guy made a video about it, and I invited him. I was like, hey, let's have a conversation about this, because I made a video and it was like, the only reason I think this is because of the pre-order thing, like Ben's talking about. Like, these people now are paying or getting something taken away. So I agree with you guys completely. I don't think it should have even been made for last gen, but it was originally set up to be coming out on last gen. So you have to continue making it there, unless you're just going to pull, what is it, Gotham Knights, and just cancel it completely. But I think it's hard to see. You can't stay off the internet. I mean, I've been in comment sections watching something on, I don't know, anime, and I see, oh, Thanos dies. I'm like, oh well, that's a spoiler. That has nothing to do with this anime at all. So it's just, it's hard to get over, in my opinion.
I haven't seen Avengers, so thank you.
Oh no.
Which one?
I don't remember. I have to actually. Some friend promised me to introduce me to Avengers. I haven't watched any.
The 3-day thing being removed doesn't make sense to me. I saw the only argument I saw was it's the first day they can put it out, and that makes no sense, because delay it further and then have it be the 3-day. That is the early access day instead. So I really don't understand why they took something away from the paying for it.
I think with this whole debacle, I don't think the studio they can't win. Really, when it comes down to it, the game has to come out. It has to come out. Like, it's been delayed so many times now. And for me, as a fan, I'm quite of the sentiment of, you take as much time as you need to get this game, like into shape, that you're quite proud to release it, with minimal bugs, because we all know what's happened in the last couple of years with games that have been released which just haven't been ready. And I envisage this game becoming a franchise and more games after it, and you want to get off on the right foot. But the thing is, as I said, this game needs to come out, it needs to make money, and if it's ready to come out on the next gen, then from a business point of view, it makes sense for them to stick to their new release date. And unfortunately, that means that there are people who are going to miss out, like, fundamentally, and that sucks. It really does. But I think if you were to then delay it even further, just so everybody's on the same footing, then, and I'm sure that's an internal conversation that they had quite extensively, then, perhaps you miss your window, and perhaps, from a business point of view, it's just been delayed too much and they're not getting the money they need. Like, and that's, I think, fundamentally what it comes down to. And it's just one of those decisions. Game needs to come out, it's coming out, and the game is only ready on next gen. So that's what they're running with. And it super sucks for people who don't have that console, but unfortunately it's staying off the internet for a few months, I think, if you don't, which sucks.
Yeah, emotionally, I was one of the guys who agreed with Nightly on his tweet. I was like, yo, like, seriously, because we're all tight with the community and have our ear to the ground when it comes to everyone involved. And so seeing those people who weren't necessarily gamers get the cheapest thing they could get, which was a PS4, Xbox One, or a Switch, whatever, then hearing about the delays, and especially with the PlayStation stuff, PS4, old gen consoles being delayed, it kind of sucks. It hurts, like, for sure. And but Andy's right, like, from a business standpoint, you have to put it out there. And plus, the window you don't know. I think they picked this window for a reason, you know, February 10th or whatever, February 7th, early access. And then competition is going to get stiff after that because you got Jedi Survivor in March and a bunch of other games starting to come out like slowly but surely. So I think February is their kind of window where they don't really have to worry about competition, kind of gauge sales, the hype, you know, up their marketing a little bit, while encouraging the old gen, like, hey, we got this coming out. This is what you have to look forward to. Maybe drop some extra stuff for those who have to wait or whatever. But I mean, I told Nightly, I was like, yo, I think they might have even looked at the pre-sales and were like how many were for the current gen and how many were for the old gen. And I think that might have helped with their decision making as well.
I think as well, from a business point of view, they will probably get a second wind in that summer with the you know, next gen. So they get their initial boost, as you were saying, James, in that kind of nice window at the start of the year before your Jedi Survivor starts coming out, before your Avatar, before your Assassin's Creed, all these other games, right?
Too, from Warner Bros. Too in May.
For sure, So you know, you are commanding the start of the year release window. And then after, you know, everyone's got it on the next gen, you can then release it again with that kind of second release in the middle of the year for those people who perhaps have got all the information in front of them and gone, hey, well, I've got a PS4, I'm a casual gamer, I'll give this game a go now. So I think for them, it makes sense. It sucks for people fundamentally, but it makes sense from a business point of view. So yeah.
Yeah, I think them dropping it though completely. When you have, I think, what is it, 110 now, 120 million PlayStation 4s out there in households. You can't drop it. The PlayStation 5 has been readily unavailable. Now you can get one, but then the cost comes into play. And then I mean, I think there's 30 to 40 PlayStation 5s out there right now. If you say 10%, the PlayStation 4 is going to outsell it far and away.
It's tough because what you see modern day, there is a sense that people wait for the new console, like Miles had it. So there is that sense, but I agree with you in the sense that this game is totally different from Miles or God of War Ragnarok, which also sold like 80% on PS5, where there's so many casuals that, like James said, they literally pick the cheapest thing. So this is not like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 60-40 split. It will still actually be more next gen, probably more than people think, but it's going to be more even than God of War or Miles, just because it's people that read the books and they're not going to buy a PS5. They can't even get one. You know, and that's a much different situation for this game versus any other.
There's also going to be people buying multiple copies. I mean, once it comes out on Switch, I'll definitely pick it up just to give it a try. But some people will buy, hey, my kid's got a PS4, I've got a PS5, I'm going to buy it for them also. So
that's actually releasing much earlier than I thought. So I will give them credit on the Switch.
I thought it was
going to be like November. You know.
Yep.
All right, let's get on a more positive. Thoughts on mounts and mounted combat. Not necessarily yes, no. So we'll just try to keep it short on your general thoughts. We'll start again from the top, and we'll just alternate top bottom.
I mean, just watching the flying around on the Thestral and the Hippogriff, the animation seems smooth. I mean, we've already talked about the sounds. It's breathtaking being up in the air that high, hearing the beating of the wings. Obviously, I remember the Hippogriff getting quite low towards the water. I was expecting sort of a claw to come out. Yeah, it's just everything. It looked amazing. Have we seen mounted combat? Okay.
No, and the thing went away.
CCX, right?
Yeah, well, he ran over the.
Oh, yeah,
on the ground.
Yes. Sorry, I was thinking, from the show. No, again, obviously, it slowed down the grab horn, the impact. I'd be interested to see how often we can use that and like how that comes into effect or something. But yeah, obviously, and the different type of beast you'll be able to use for that. Will you be able to use the Hippogriff for that, or is it your grab horns and them sort of creatures? But yeah, I was blown away by the flight on the Hippogriff.
I think it looks fantastic. It's it looks so much better than I thought it was going to look. I'd like to see combat. It would be cool to be combat on mounts. It'd also be cool to see if the mounts stick around if combat engages to sort of help you out. That'd be nice to see, because we've obviously got companions. They sort of like drummed in a lot about companions, so it'd be nice to see if we actually have animal companions. That'd be quite cool. So yeah, I just see more. I can't wait to see more. Just everything they've shown so far, great.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see what else we'll be able to mount. So I'm going to I'm going to talk about brooms for just a second, just because I'm so chaotic. When I was watching the gameplay, I was like, oh, if you're on a broom, can I dive bomb into a person that's just like casually walking? So I want to, this is the kind of stuff that I'm just like, what can we do? And I'm excited to see all of us try to push those like boundaries or, experimentation, if you will, of what can we do while we are flying around on a creature. Adding to this, like mounting on water, I really would have liked to see spell casting on mounts, but I don't think so.
I was just double checking that to see if
It went
when they
away.
mount, it
It's
goes
not
away.
there.
So-
It's
Yeah,
not there at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just because it goes away, and the same thing happens when you get on the broom. The second you get off the broom, then the spell wheel comes back. I think, or the spell diamond. I think that basically confirms that spell casting's not gonna be happening while we're mounted. I mean, obviously that could be changed possibly with a future update, but just the visual experience of mounted broom, the like animal mounts looks incredible. And like that's one of the part, like especially the brooms is one of the parts I've been most excited for since the beginning, and they've nailed it so far.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I totally agree. Like to me, both the broom and you can like upgrade it, choose different brooms and how they work. How like to the ground you're faster, and then if you go up, it kind of loses its juice, whatever. But on the hippogriff, you can soar because you can fly. It's stronger. I love that. And yeah, I agree about the combat. I think just from that clip, CCXP, it looks like you can still like ram into the enemies, like when you're on the ground. But yeah, no casting spells.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that you'll be able to have combat with a mount. I do think that you can do some initial damage with it, let's say riding into enemies, but then I think you'll be demounted. What I found interesting throughout the gameplay showcase is that enemies on the ground while you're flying, they do target you. So you do get warnings and when you're prompted when you're flying through them. And what that says to me is that if you were to hover in front of an enemy or kind of stay stationary in the middle, in the air on the hippogriff or your broom or what have you, you can get demounted, which then opens up another kind of question for me is how much health or how many spells does it take for you to get demounted? Because it doesn't seem to me that there's any health bar on either of those. That's an interesting question, which I've been pondering. But then also, if you do get demounted and you do start falling to the ground, are you going to cast Arresto Momentum to kind of slow yourself? Is that going to be an automatic cast? And if so, are you going to take a penalty for that in game? So are you going to reduce your health by, let's say, 20%, 50% before you get into combat if you are demounted, while flying in game? So that's kind of interesting mechanic for me. So in short, for me, I don't think we're going to have mounted combat, but I'm interested to see how you can use the mount in some way that can perhaps then lead into combat.
I think that's a fantastic conversation that I want to have for like an hour at least.
So when you're riding your mount, there actually is a health meter.
Yeah.
In the bottom right. When you're riding the broom,
Screen.
there's one below the
Perfect. I didn't even
speed
clock
meter.
that. Nice. There you go. So perhaps then, just based on, what we're chatting about here, then if you get hit right bang in the face with a tasty spell, then you're going to get demounted, and then you're going to have some sort of penalty when you hit the deck, when you hit the ground. So that would be really interesting, because then you're going into combat with a penalty, with a health penalty, and then what happens if you die? But that's perhaps another conversation further on in the stream.
So I have two questions about the mounts. It's how far can you jump before you pull out your mount? Like, can you just free fall for, I don't know, 50 meters, or do you just die?
Oh, that's
All the creativity here.
Yeah, and where is this guy pulling the bag from? Because if you watch the video, it just appears.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It just the bag's just there. Where's he keeping it? That's what I want.
Pocket.
Wow.
Pocket is also just shrinks things.
It's got an undetectable extension charm in its pocket. It's obvious.
Exactly. There you go.
When in doubt, ancient magic.
Yes.
Answer
Always
to
the
everything.
answer.
I want to talk to you. Sorry. Well,
No,
Magic
go
after
for
this.
it.
After no, Retro. I want to hear what you think about the mounts, bro. Let's go.
I was just going to use my time to talk about that slick animation. I I love. I mean, they could have very easily had it be like, oh, you call your mount and it trots up, but no, they're like, we're gonna give you a Newt Scamander like bag where he just emerges, and the animation just looks so good on that. But yeah, I'll say no to combat for the reasons you guys talked about with the spells and everything. But it's kind of getting in and out of battles, like doing that initial damage until we get the dragon, of course. Then all bets are off, right?
Facts. It's happening.
It's happening. Yes.
I'm speaking into existence. No, again, agree with everybody. No spell casting, obviously, since there's no diamond. I did notice the health bar, so that was something I kept in the back of my head, like, okay, we have health up there, so how can we take damage since we need that indicator while riding or mounting in the first place? So it'll be interesting. I remember the scene from the State of Play where we fly by a dragon during, I think, a title crawl beyond the castle.
We're on
like
the
that.
hippogriff.
Yeah, we're on a hippogriff and we fly right by a Hebridean black dragon. So can we fly into a dragon? You know what I'm saying? By accident,
See, you're with me, James. Let's do it.
When we go into, I will try stuff. But I think going back to what Retro was saying in regards to the animation, I'm not surprised anymore by anything, just how amazing they're doing it, because the details with just little aspects in the castle, let alone being Newt Scamander and summoning a Grabhorn or a Hippogriff or a Thestral, which not gonna lie, I cried during the stream when I saw the Thestral come out right before we entered the Dark Arts Arena, because that's my Patronus and like my favorite fantastic beast. So I started tearing up there because it was just like, it's real. Like James will be able to ride a Thestral while casting, hopefully, an Expecto Patronum Thestral Patronus Charm. Like that's what I want, and so it was so good. Congrats to Avalanche with that, because they've just been killing it. So yeah.
So that health meter when you're flying actually makes me think we're gonna have a couple missions where we're like avoiding things, flying through.
I was thinking about that,
because you see those balloons that look like broom races. You probably have to swerve through those. Maybe if you hit a rock or something, your health goes down, then you fail the mission, and it's a game mechanic that's just everywhere.
Will there be mounts that we can ride in the water? We'd start with James here.
We saw the Kelpie in the behind the scenes. What is it? Yeah, the behind the scenes video from the State of Play. I'm gonna say no.
He's like, we saw it there, but no.
Let me just open up that NDA.
No, our reaction makes it worse.
No, because I'm thinking, it's like, have we seen something that could indicate it?
Right. Anything else?
Yeah. Anything else? And like,
what's everyone else seen? What have I seen?
Yeah, that everybody else has seen that I can reference. Oh no, I don't think so.
There were an awful lot of blurred pictures in that behind the scenes, James. That's all I'm saying. No, I say no too. I'll say no as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no on this one. You'll probably be able to trot with your little horsey, as Ben calls it, through the water, through the shallow water. But other than that, no Kelpie riding, I don't think.
I think obviously I'm going to go against the curve again, because obviously I said I think we'll be submerged in some way. If we've already got the animation for the Hippogriff and the Thestral, and those animations look fantastic in the air, could that be applied underwater with a Kelpie, for example? I think so, yes. But I would be super impressed if it is in game. Like, that would exceed my expectations, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
I think that would really kind of blow me away in terms of, wow, the amount of detail that they've done. I also don't think it's a coincidence that they've already put Kelpie animations in the game on the collector's edition robe. So those have been included in some capacity. It's been thought of. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have similar animations by the devs that can then be applied to a Thestral kind of animation in the game. And then when you're flying through the water, you get all the bubbles and what have you flying around. I think with so much water in this game, it would make sense to be able to fast travel in a mount underwater. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't,
James, big smile there. James, am I onto something? Am I onto something, bro?
You're selling it. You're selling it.
I mean,
sold.
yeah, I do like that thought process. And also, again, I think it comes down to the same thing. We don't really know if we can be really underwater. But again, ND's thinking process, I think, makes sense because there's animations. We saw it from the Slytherin common room. And yeah, you have horsey. I don't know why it came out like that. But anyways, yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I feel like even if we're going to have that, that's just such an extra thing on top of everything that we are getting already from the game. So that will be like, it's going to blow my mind, but that's going to be an extra blow. My mind is already blown right now with everything.
Yeah, I think the linchpin really is if you can go underwater. Like if you can't go underwater, it doesn't really make any sense because you could just make the hippogriff and whatever swim on the water, and then you wouldn't even really need to do that because you could just fly over it. If you can go underwater, like maybe, I think it'd make more sense if you were like Andy said, if you want to fast travel around like big lakes or something, you could just use like gillyweed or something, and then create more variation in the gameplay. Since you're flying around on mountains all the time above the surface, so even if you're swimming, I don't think so. So just overall, I'd gotta say probably not.
James is smiling again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm gonna say yes to be aspirational. I also agree with Andy. Like the points you're making, and Ben following up with that. I don't really look. I'm not a Newt Scamander. I'm not a Magizu. Like There's lots of things that I'm not good at, and I know I'm not skilled at. So the Room of Requirement showing me all the stuff and kind of the utility of caring for magical creatures was very important for me to be like, oh, all of these systems interconnected. Like I want to be rescuing these creatures. And so something I'm wondering in this conversation is whether we can rescue water-based creatures. We saw the water in that one shot, but in these other locations, these other biomes or areas that as the progression goes and it expands, is that going to be part of it? Can we use that for upgrading our gear? So now I have more questions, but I'm going to stick with yes for the aspirationalness of it.
I go yes. I actually genuinely think yes, because they've gone to the level of detail to put the mounts that can fly on the ground. Why the size of the map that we've seen so far, the amount of water in the map, even if it's something simple, I think there's going to be some form of mount in the water just to be able to get us across it. Because if not, and we are going at swimming pace, it's not very quick. I know we could fly over it potentially. And it could just be fly. But if we want to spend our time exploring on the floor, which I want to do, then it's going to be very slow if we don't have some form of mount. So whether that is potentially a mount in the form of gillyweed, or whether we can just get our Newt case out and pop any form of water creature out, and yeah, I think there will be some form of water mount, just because why not? Because it's such a big area.
Yeah, I've just been, while you've all been talking, I've also been thinking about taking care of water creatures in the Room of Requirement. If we can save them, nurture them, I know we'll be using their things they give us for clothing, all that things. But if we can take care of them, we should be able to use them out in the open world too. Similar with the Grap Horn, we're taking care of it. We can unleash it on the goblins and things. So I think if we can take care of water-based creatures, we should be able to use them too. In what capacity? Like I said, maybe just a fast travel thing. If there's a big lock, which there are a lot in Scotland, just to get around it, something like that, something as simple as that. I think that's probably the extent it goes to. But yeah, if we can take care of them, I think we'll be able to use them. Yeah.
The only other alternative we didn't think about is Transfiguration as well. We could possibly turn into like a fish or a shark or something.
That's a really great shout, mate. Actually, that is a really great shout. I didn't think of that at all. I think that's definitely possible for sure.
I'll
I
say
actually
yes.
think that's a really good idea. I think that's a brilliant idea. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. If we have some consumable where we can just, well, I say consumable, or transfigure yourself, but it's time based. So then once you transfigure yourself, it kind of runs out. So it allows you to burst through the water for, let's say, 30 seconds and then would perhaps fade away. And then you have to improve that in some way. That's a really great idea, mate. I like that a lot.
Sign me up, Avalanche.
Yeah, Transfiguration's such a strange one. We've not heard anything about it, have we? Teach it in any of the Potter games. There's been, out of all the Potter games, there's been 2 Transfiguration lessons, and that's it. It's just a class that always gets skipped over.
Yeah.
Do you know what, mate? That's actually something that I wanted to talk to you guys about and see what you think of it. It actually goes back to that ancient magic spell when we activate it with the L1 and the R1. On one of the enemies, when you actually do that, it seems that particular ancient magic spell is completely random. So it's not kind of like, okay, well, I want to run around and just lightning bolt absolutely everybody.
But
it seems that it's completely sporadic in the sense that each one has a different animation. So back to the Transfiguration, one of the enemies gets turned into a chicken, I believe, or a rooster in the game. Whereas, so it says to me that those animations again are in the game where a person, an NPC, a player model, can be transfigured into a creature of some kind. So the animation has already been kind of created. So it would be interesting to see if that can be applied to us. Yes, exactly, mate. That opens up another can of complete worms. But then also on that ancient magic as well, you've also got loads of other different animations where, you know, people are getting exploded and all this kind of stuff, which is it's what from a gameplay standpoint, that's really encouraging because it keeps it completely fresh. I think there's only so many times that you would be lightning bolting a certain enemy to be like, well, that's a cool one shot, but I've done it like 25,000 times now. Yeah. So it's like, you know, to keep it kind of rotation and the fresh and mix it up, like, which one am I going to get now? I think that is like a subtle detail, but it's super cool. And I also think it leads on to that Transfiguration. I'd love to hear what you guys think about, you know, Animagus, as you say, Ben. Is that confirmed, Ben? Is that confirmed? James, what are we saying, guys?
I don't know. James I don't know what's happening to James.
I know.
I think
Stop covering your face, sir.
I think this makes a lot of sense to read right now.
We skipped Alex with the mount, by the way, a little bit.
I know. Sorry, Alex.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So, James, don't blink if you have a review code. Just want to throw that.
He's just coming.
with the ancient magic, what do you think the difference is between a normal Transfiguration spell and that Transfiguration spell?
I was going to ask you guys the same thing.
Permanent?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like you literally, they will never turn that person is now a chicken?
Can you kick the chicken?
So you eat the chicken.
There's just 3, right?
Is that cannibalism?
Well, technically 4. I think
if you count the lightning.
4. If you count also the dash. Well, I'm
the dash.
Okay, chicken, just explode, evaporate into pieces. The lightning and the dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 2 exploding spells. They were different visually.
Yeah, like one looks like it's this sort of black, almost like when Voldemort died in the movies.
Or Bellatrix.
And then another one is this, almost like there's like a flame, like an explosion to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, is there something we set that controls that, or is it purely random? Ancient magic randomness.
Maybe as you press the L1, R1 button, you also press something else while doing that. But there's no prompt for it. So it looks like it's random, but I have no idea. It's like, huh?
Do you know on the Ben? When Alan was talking to you, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, mate, but I think he was discussing about the complexity of altering spells in some way. And what I'm talking about is the Avada Kedavra kind of change, where you can place certain combos, I believe it's combos, or other certain spells, or perhaps it might be upgrading your talents in some specific way, where if you cast certain spells on a number of enemies in a vicinity, and then you cast the Avada Kedavra spell, all those enemies die, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right?
It's a cursed area of effect.
Yeah. I think he was talking about the curses. So like the X appears and they can spread sort of. So if there's like 3 enemies that have X's on them, they're cursed. If you Avada Kedavra one guy, all of them die.
So is that something that we get straight out of the block when it comes to learning this Avada Kedavra spell? Or is it something that we can specifically upgrade in our talent tree? Because if that is the case, and we can really go to that much detail with this gameplay and altering the area of effect of certain spells, that's really encouraging in my opinion, because that means that perhaps we can do the same thing for ancient magic or other different types of spells, you know, to kind of increase the gameplay in a direction that we'd like. I'd be really keen to like hear what you guys think of that, because then we're going into that kind of realm of like, not saying editing spells, but it's certainly close to that, really.
Yeah. And I think in James's showcase, sorry to put the spotlight back on you, there was that mention of enhancement. I don't remember the exact word that was used, but he also mentioned that that was part of kind of like in the course of using your talents, in that section, he was talking about, adapting or editing those spells. And is it that you can do that because of ancient magic? Is it strictly for the variety and the mechanics? Is it to make it more interesting, like you're saying? I don't know. But we don't know much about how that works. It's really cool though, because that gives a lot of, options for how we approach the combat experience and how like what does that look like? And it's going to look different for how we approach it.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's just a simple yes/no question. Do you think there'll be a potential third showcase? Chandler didn't exactly say the second was the last, so he didn't set it up as perfectly as James's to then Ben's, but he didn't close it fully. All right, so simple yes/no. I think yes.
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 Can I say I hope so? I don't know. I hope so.
Yes, I think it might be like a story showcase instead of a gameplay showcase, but yes.
Yeah. There's plenty of time till the game for another one. Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Are you the one chosen?
I was trying to see if anyone was really smart. To see if
Your
anyone was
answer
like,
was
yeah,
yeah,
they're
gonna
gonna
be
be
prop
the
on
one.
Yeah, you said that very
yeah.
emphatically.
I'm just thinking, like, I was just thinking about the holidays coming up, right? Like, and the game's coming out in February. And I don't know if Ben can say, like, how recently he filmed his. I know James talked about when he filmed his. Like, I feel like it would have to be getting filmed right
Ben,
around
can you
now.
answer that or no?
It was recent.
Okay.
Didn't Chandler make a joke about the jump thing? Like he accidentally said jumping into something and then he like laughed.
Oh, he did. That's right.
He did
Yes. So it had to be
must
after
have been
that.
when
after
they
the
were
jump
working
thing.
on that.
I think, like Lamrak, mate, I think you made a really good point there, dude, about actually showing some kind of like story or quest line. I think they don't want to spoil anything, but we haven't actually seen gameplay of a full quest walkthrough. So picking up a quest, how we interact with that, and then leading on to how we collect things and choose what we do on that quest and the reward that we get. Me personally, that is something that I would really like to see. We've seen gameplay. We've seen that combat gameplay. I'm satisfied with that for now. To be honest, I think that's a great tick. But I would really love to see one quest. Like we pick it up, we're out in the world, we do it, we complete it. This is what we get. I think that would be great before release. To be
Hey,
honest.
we did see a Slytherin at the end of that, and there's only one Slytherin in the room right now. So,
yes, we
Andy,
did.
did
Yes,
you
we
just-
did. Mate, that is a great shout. I completely forgot about that. Maybe that's what's going to be next, right?
Maybe
And
the
what
guy
about-
who's been
yeah.
joking about the NDAs the whole time. The one who signed a recently.
He's next on the hit list.
You got me. You got me.
James,
I
what's
wish,
your
I
what's
wish,
your
I
answer?
wish.
Yes,
We got him.
To the showcase.
Yeah.
I just hope whatever it is, it's story. I think the two showcases have whet a lot of people's appetites. Harry Potter fans, I think, more so with my showcase, and gamer fans more so with Ben's. And so I hope the next one, if they do one or they don't, I hope there's some story elements there, not necessarily gameplay, but just maybe a peek at how it might start, or a quest line, a couple of cutscenes that lead to something big. That's something I've been dying, because I lost my mind. I don't know if you guys seen the clip at the very end. I lost my mind, because then like all of those dots that I've been poking in the ground for the past 8 months just started making sense just from that little 11-second scene. So yeah, give me more story.
That clip may or may not show up in my video tomorrow. So,
all right, we'll do one general question, and then I will do the surprise, and then we'll keep going. And we can also
Alex,
talk-
sorry. Just while we're on this topic, very sorry to interrupt. I just saw Johnny in the chat, right? And he says,
Johnny Depp?
retros. Johnny the Hustle Puff Russell, top name by the way. But he says retro is going to be another host if we get another. So retro, what's the flight time looking to Salt Lake, mate? Well, are we looking at something after New Year here, dude? Or are we on the NDA?
I haven't been contacted. I'll say that.
Oh, wow.
I have not.
You say it a lot more suspiciously than I do when I'm at.
I keep getting asked on Twitter and Discord as my kids are like freaking out over Mario in the back here. But yeah, I mean, I just like, no matter what I say, people are like, oh, he grinned funny when he said it.
It's like Andrew Garfield and Toby before Spider-Man. Right. They're like, I'm not in the movie yet. What are you talking about?
Yeah. All right. Thoughts on what happens when we die in game? Seems simple enough. I just think you drop and then it restarts. I don't know.
Yeah, restart at the Flu Flame. Last safe spot.
That's good enough for me. That was very convincingly said. So.
Makes notes.
You go, Nightly Nerd, and then we'll go back to retro.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't think there's gonna be like a huge wasted sign like there is in GTA, but yeah, I think we'll just pop up in the last checkpoint.
Yeah, I think I would love for it to be some sort of kind of like King's Cross, you know, when Harry gets hit with Voldemort and you have some sort of kind of like esoteric.
Oh my goodness. That would be
that would be sick. That would be sick. But I also think
You're visited by Merlin instead, though.
Can you imagine? Or perhaps there's maybe it's I think what's going to happen, and I think on the next gen consoles, I think the reload time is going to be super fast. So I don't think you're actually going to have any need for those load screens, to be honest with you. Which is a shame. Or maybe they will just put the load screens in there. And if they do, maybe there's something to the story, like, you know, you're imbued with ancient magic, now's not your time, or you hear some sort of voice or something like that, which adds to the story, because we're all going to die at one point in this game. You know, it's going to happen. But I think from a gameplay mechanical point of view, I think as James very convincingly said there, I think it will be back to the nearest checkpoint, to your near flu powder. It makes sense, doesn't it? That's the nearest one in the vicinity, and you'll pop back there and then you can go and give it another crack. But equally, I think maybe there'll be a couple seconds in that load time where you're shown some really cool screen or scene, which makes you kind of realize what you're getting yourself into in the storyline. I think that would be a nice touch.
Yeah, actually, I think it will be like just like James said, you just kind of respond at the Flu network. But I was thinking it could have been cool how they did it in Order of the Phoenix, that you actually appear in the hospital wing after dying, after losing a duel. That could be cool, but that makes it like a kind of pain in the ass getting back to where you are. Then you have to fast travel again. That becomes a hustle. But maybe we'll get like a little hospital wing, little animation in after we die. Like, oh, we went there and then we came back. I don't know.
Yeah. It might be. It could be like some sort of Elden Ring thing where there's like I think this is an Elden Ring with the little statues. And so you normally respawn at the whatever. It's been a while since I played that.
Site of Grace.
It's Site of Grace, the campfires things, yeah. And that would sort of be the either the Flu Flame or the Infirmary. And then if it's like a boss battle or some big story thing, then there'd be, you know, something like that where it makes you respawn closer to where you are. That's just a random guess.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm probably gonna die a ton. So I hope that there's no actual loading screen to make me ponder my life choices. But what you made me think about, Lamorak, was statues. There are statues everywhere in this game just for no reason. So it would be funny to kind of have this sort of like, if we're still going with this Merlin Morgana and this very kind of oldness, like
Or is
having
it?
some sort of spawn. I don't know. Nobody knows. Or do you? Look at his face. Yeah, just, respawning at some point, preserving your last save, autosave, whatever.
Yeah, I just have one thing. I would really love it to be lore explained, where it makes sense in the world. If it just sort of fades and then you're at the Flu Flame, it'd be, I don't know. But like if there's some sort of lore, like ancient magic, why not? Just anything that like makes it make sense in the world would be
lifts
cool.
you up, places you there.
I'm slightly different. I think we'll get like a little cutscene when we die. I think we will get I think we possibly already saw one as well. In the Sebastian Salo trailer when it was the guy wrapped in the cobwebs. I thought that might have been like a little death cutscene that we actually saw if he died by the spider. So
I think that would be so cool, but I also think that would be incredibly hard to do because you'd kind of have to have a cutscene in some way with every enemy or around the map to kind of match
environment.
yeah, you said it, but Batman did it.
You could do like Batman Arkham Asylum. It's literally the first one.
Whenever you died by a like if it was like like you died by a wizard, you would just have a generic wizard cutscene. If you died by a troll, it would be a generic troll cutscene. Do you know what I mean?
I would love that. Yeah, I would love that.
And like I said, that little cutscene of the guy wrapped in the cobwebs, and it just the way it zoomed in, it just sort of gave me an impression of you've just died to a spider. This is your fate, and then it would just go blank, and then you'd spawn at the Flu Flame. But
That's cool.
I originally was thinking along the same lines as Ben, hospital wing, but then remembering how big this world is, like if you're at the complete other end, you're not going to be happy. But maybe that's like the price of dying. Maybe that's the price of dying. Just to have that bit of immersion. But just like with everyone, obviously you have to discover the flu networks, don't you? Like you go up to them to discover them the first time. So the nearest one you've discovered, which again, if you've not done much exploration, could be a bit of a pain in the ass getting back. But yeah, I would like the hospital wing, I think, still.
All right. I joked the last time. This one's real. This is the last question because this is very simple. What are you all playing on?
James, Ben, what codes have you got?
Andy, there's a list. There's a way to do things here. Just kidding. I don't care who says.
PS5.
I'll be PC for streaming, PS5 for my own little playthrough on my own.
PC.
Yeah, PC.
PS5.
PS5 for me.
Yeah, PS5.
PS5 here as well.
PS5.
We got some fanboys here.
No Xbox.
I also have the
Wow.
Xbox.
They're
I
called
also have
Stony
the-
Ponies, by the way.
Okay, Andy, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just listen. It was a terrible joke.
No,
okay?
I love them.
Wait,
But I was just curious to know what code platform Ben and James have got their game on. That was all. That was their early access code.
No, there
I'm
is
here-
none.
I'm curious if they
No.
do send those out though, even if it's just like right before release.
Oh yeah, I think late January.
Kind of linking to playing on different things. There was a shot in this latest trailer with the moon calf, and we was like aiming at the ball, and it looked like there was free aiming. Now, I was wondering on PC if there was free aiming because it's a lot easier to free aim on PC than it is on console. But there looked like there was free aiming. I just wondered if they had mentioned anything to any of you two, James or Ben.
Well, it was captured about on PS5. It always is, and there was aim even in the James's showcase when they looked at the owlery. So yeah, there's a little you can kind of like I guess zoom in, and you have a little aim.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's move to the surprise and pray that it works. And then we'll just keep on going.
What's
So
happening?
I guess I can set the scene in case this fails. So I asked Troy to do a little video for us, and that's what it is. And there's the end of the surprise.
Oh,
So
Sick.
I'll
Sick.
show it.
what?
So he recorded a little more than a minute long video to I only watched half just to make sure like the audio wasn't corrupted or something, because I wanted it to be a surprise for me too. It could also be to the community. I think it's primarily to us. So here we go. I hope that it shares audio. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Let me
Look at
tell
that.
me.
Nicely done.
And there's another Slytherin too. So
There you go.
Here we go.
we
My
just need
man.
to know if this is going to play actual audio. So you guys will have to let me know. I'll just play like the first second.
Greetings.
Can
Yeah,
you
it's
hear
working.
that?
Yep.
He's
Okay.
gonna be in the next showcase if there is one.
Yeah. All right.
Greetings. I want to wish the fantastic Hogwarts Legacy YouTube community a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I also want to say thank you to each of you for making such wonderfully informative and entertaining videos. I have truly enjoyed your excitement, insights, and enthusiasm over these past several months. Even more importantly, thank you for keeping your focus on what's really important, which is our shared love of the wizarding world and how it brings people together. Seeing how you guys have come together not only as fans, but also as newly discovered friends has been a true delight. Well, now the time draws short. Soon the most magical time of all will arrive, and that is when the game will finally be in the hands of you, the players. And that is when the magic truly happens, because without players, there would be no one to experience all those years of development. And so I leave you with this one last word of gratitude. Thank you for playing the game, and we will see you soon at Hogwarts.
Let's go.
Nice.
Nice.
I love it.
Let's go.
Thank you, Alex, for getting that. And of
Yeah,
course, thank you to
so
Troy.
sweet.
Legend. Nice.
Wow.
I
Wow.
had to call in the only favor I had available.
Well, he kind of alluded to there, and I would love to ask the developers. Maybe Ben and James could share something about this, but I don't think I've ever had anything in my life where I've worked on something for that long and you can't tell anyone. Like for years they've been working and toiling away on this and can't share it. So I think James talked a lot about just like the passion. You could just tell they were finally so excited to get to talk about it. And I mean, Troy alluded to it there, but just all these years, I mean, that people have spent their lives working on this, man. Yeah. I can't imagine what that's like.
I'm
Yeah,
super jacked.
that was
Unreal.
a big thing for them. I know, and Ben can speak for himself. I know when I was there, Boston and like Alan and all of them were saying like, "Oh, yo, it's cool to have you here because you kind of just get in the weeds and just focus on taking care of these bugs, meeting deadlines and stuff. But having a fan like myself or Ben or anybody else come through, it's like." You remember why you're doing it and who you're doing it for and why you're excited about this. Because you get stuck in work and you might have the best job in the world, an NBA player or something. But then, crap, I got practice. Crap, I got workouts. I got to do this. I got to, train and all this other stuff. That part's not fun. Parts is playing the game. And so I guess that was us being there and asking so many questions, all doe-eyed and just like, okay, can we talk about this? What was it like doing this and stuff? And so the showcase and all of those things is just them releasing all of that work and excitement and passion that they've had over that time. So yeah, well said, Troy and Retro. Well said.
Make sure you guys, I saw in the chat and stuff, you guys showed your love to Troy. He's going to watch later. He's busy in the moment. Otherwise, he actually was going to join the chat on the side. But make sure you guys just let him know, that great guy. Obviously, we've seen videos of him before. So just show your love for him there. He also was going to have a Christmas hat that he couldn't find. So it was going to be a little bit
The Slytherin robes is good enough for me.
the background I thought was super cool. All right. This is a one or the other kind of question, so I feel like this should be easy. Unforgivables on school grounds or certain areas? I say certain areas.
I agree.
Yeah.
Certain areas, yes. Not on the school grounds, no.
I still think certain areas, certain times. I still, I don't know. They're still overpowered about Avada Kedavra. I know they can do cooldowns. I just still think it's going to be certain areas, certain times.
Same. Certain areas, definitely not school.
Yeah, certain areas as well. I just don't see us using Avacadabra just in the halls, just blasting it around.
I totally agree. Also, we already see separate areas. Like, for example, the HUD disappears for spells while we fly. I feel like, and it changes while we're in the castle. So that already kind of telegraphs. Yeah, there will be different.
Good
spots.
call.
I think I might go a little bit off piece here. I think instead of certain areas, I think it will be certain enemies. Because the reason I say that is the spells are already on our diamond, so we can actually flick back and forth between the diamonds. So they're slotted there for easy access and quick casting. So for that reason alone, I just think that when we are in a certain combat situation, we'll be able to use that specific spell. But then you've got the argument of, does that certain combat situation fall within a certain arena? I'm not so sure. I reckon there's going to be times throughout the game where we may be in Hogwarts grounds against a certain enemy, which will then allow us to cast those kind of spells. So I think it's specific to enemies rather than certain areas. That's my take.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, because that makes sense, because we're gonna have there are places we can duel.
Yeah.
But then also, if there is Battle of Hogwarts, you got a battle.
Right. Are you gonna have that? Is that going to be out of bounds because it's in Hogwarts? I'm not so sure. I think it will just be, the spell will just be grayed out, so you won't be able to cast it, and that's when you'll get the that spell wand animation we saw like over a year ago, I think, of the bug from Twitter. When it goes like,
yes,
Yeah.
So
good
so
call.
Great
So I
call.
think let's
That's
say
great
you
call.
can, when you try and cast that spell, it'll be like pew, pew, and it'll be like, okay, I'll try a different spell. So I think it'll be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go not with you guys here on this one. I think after watching that gameplay showcase a couple times, you can slot them pretty much anywhere. But I think what the mechanic is going to be is when friendly fire's on in Call of Duty. If you point your wand at a companion, it kind of grays out the fact that you can't attack them. So I don't think you're going to be able to go in the school and just AK everybody around, because it's going to, like, the logo won't be red. It won't be an enemy. It'll just kind of be grayed out there. So you'll still be able to use it, but not at people. If that makes sense.
They're like invincible, so to say.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you have a good relationship with them. If you don't, Poppy's going to be the first person.
Oh, no.
Hey,
Poppy's getting nuked.
Hey. Yo, you will see a dark Hufflepuff right now. Leave Poppy alone.
We'll fight for this one.
I'm already a dark Hufflepuff.
Man, now you guys got me thinking both ways. Like, gosh. I just can't see us being able to cast. I mean, first of all, they're unforgivable. Like, it's supposed to be a life sentence in Azkaban. So are they just going to ignore that or pretend that's, I mean, because they showed the Dark Arts Arena, which I thought was a very interesting way of doing it. Because they're like, here, it's just a horde mode. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're having fun. It doesn't really affect anything.
Yeah.
Right. Because then they don't have to answer what does it look like in the school? What does it look like walking around the little hamlets like they were talking about? I mean, can you just AK all these folks? I don't know. I mean, I do think it would be cool if, like, you do it one time in the school and just like all the teachers just like immediately, you just get like a game over screen. You're kicked out, game over. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say no. A combination of what you guys are saying, though.
Yeah, I'll take everybody's answers, put it together, stir it up, see what comes out the cauldron, and go with that.
Some Andy love about how handsome he is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Oh my goodness!
Hey.
Oh my goodness! Send me
Do
a
you
DM.
Do you like the UI design along with the weapon wheel? It seems like a pretty good yes. I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great question. Actually, I know it's something simple, but I think in a game like this, it would be super easy to overwhelming anyway with all the spells. So I think it looks great. I think it looks clean when it needs to be, like flying, for example. So yeah, big tick on that from me, I think.
And if you have a question about how the spells are going to work, go play The Witcher 3 next gen. The R2 hold down with face buttons is exactly how it's going to play on whatever Hogwarts Legacy.
I know I'm a bit. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. Sorry, mate.
No, go ahead.
No. Honestly, sorry, mate. I've spoken enough. Go.
I'm actually going to be starting to play this game for the first time, The Witcher, so I'm excited. And yeah, so far it looks pretty good. It looks
yeah. So
I didn't even know that changed until recently that they changed that.
Yeah, the spell wheel it all looks great. No issues.
How much do you guys think choice will have an effect on gameplay?
Yes.
This, I was gonna say that this goes into. I think that
I say yes.
This is a tough question for 10 people because I really think this goes into, again, the game so far, how they've talked about it. It doesn't seem like they're going to be remembering every single thing you do. So that I really think you're just going to have to play it to see how it goes. But it's not a game like Mass Effect where every single thing you do, it either goes up or down. Like it's not going to keep track of it. And that could backfire. But we'll see. But it depends on how the splits are between good and bad and if there are the endings. Because if those things aren't as important, then it won't really matter. But if you're going wild and you're killing everybody and they make decisions feel like they matter and then it doesn't really matter at the end, then that would highlight that weakness of the game, is what I've always been saying. Not to take over. But it's not a yes/no question. So, but here's one. Do you think there'll be DLC? Yes.
Which way are we going now?
Yeah, which order?
Which way are we going?
You may need direction.
Is it a unanimous yes? You can all just nod yes.
Yeah, we can just.
I can't nod.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Start with James.
Yes, possibly when the old gen comes out.
Ooh, I think for sure yes. That very first thing that Alan, or was it Alan or Adrian? I think it was Alan on the PlayStation blog. I mean, they clearly want to do more.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see how much DLC they do compared to just a second game running on almost the same engine. Because I know Destiny 2 does a ton of expansions, but they're not really DLCs. They are, but they aren't. So if you've got the same engine running and you're just going to add swimming or like another year, is it going to be a DLC or is it going to be Hogwarts Legacy 2? But I do think there will be DLC to some capacity, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think this is going to be a huge money earner. And obviously, we're going to be playing this game, because we're huge fans and we love it, right? And we're going to love it. I'm sure we are. But I think I kind of have to be a little bit pragmatic with these kind of things, I think, because and realize that it is a business and they want to make money. And if this does make a lot of money, then they're going to want to make more money. Of course, that is just how this works, right? And a DLC is a great way to build and add some stuff into the game that perhaps they've just put to the side for the time being just to get this game out. I think it's another great way to start dipping the toe into kind of a sort of live service aspect where you are constantly bringing out new content every quarter, which is something that I think they would perhaps look into. And then when I'm thinking of kind of perhaps Hogwarts Legacy 2, I think that it would happen as well, but I would say probably 3 to 4 years away, to be honest, maybe even longer than that. But I think that with a game such as this, with the amount of content that they've put in it, with all these animations, the amount of blood, sweat, and tears and love that all the development team have put into it, I think it would be really difficult for them to be like, good work, team, job done, let's close the book on that and move on to something else. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think a DLC, and perhaps I think James is a great shout. I think that may happen, but I think perhaps conservatively, I'd probably say Christmas time might be a good way to kind of get people more back engaged with the game when there's a lot of spending power that people have in that time of the year.
We've seen DLC being more and more pushed, where it used to be like a 4 to 6 month thing. Even you go to Horizon being 6, I think, and then now Burning Shores is over a year after.
Yeah.
So
sure,
I'd want like a nice little middle ground. So November, December actually is that middle ground. That's when I would want it.
Instead
Yeah,
of a DLC, sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, I strongly agree with you, Andy. I think for business part, yeah, absolutely. They've spent so much on this and just close the door for the no. Yeah, they'll want to make more money.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely get a DLC, and my bet is on Quidditch, just because they have this massive stadium they've already made, and that's like something which would bring a lot of people back to the game. Because if they just do new story or something, it'd be like the same experience, just a little bit more content. But Quidditch would be that thing that's like almost a whole new game, but like not quite as large a new game. So it's sort of like the perfect thing for a DLC to bring people back to the game. So I think yes, and I think it'll probably be Quidditch if they do.
Also, yes. And the broom flight looked really good to me. I don't know if it's because, each time we see something new, it's like, oh yeah, this is clearly later in development. Like, I was just that opening shot of us going through the trees and everything. I was very impressed with how it looked. So I'm just going to say yes, and I'm excited for however they decide to package those DLCs, because I'm going to buy them all.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Andy's answer was pretty much perfect. I think that they're going to have to invest in this game a bit more because of the amount of love they've put into it so far. I'm personally a bit skeptical about Quidditch. I feel if they're going to do Quidditch right, they need basically a whole dev team on Quidditch. It's going to need to be to the level of... I hate to compare it to this game because this game's trash, but it's like FIFA. Like you need to have specific mechanics written into a game to develop it, to make. I do not want to be flying through hoops as a seeker. You know what I mean? It needs to have proper mechanics to be able to play in all the positions. It needs to have proper mechanics to be a goal, if you want to be as a keeper or if you want to be as a chaser.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to have those mechanics into it. It needs to be like a whole team. So unless they've got a team that's already working on that, and it's going to be pushed sort of in a year's time, then that would be fine. But I don't want them to rush Quidditch and just chuck it out because people want it. I want it to be done properly.
I may be blinded by how much I want it. It's possible.
Oh, I want it. I definitely want it, but I want it right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think there'll be DLC. What it is, I have no idea. I'm more sure on things, like how gaming's going now. More cosmetic packs. It's going to be. We've seen stuff like the dark arts things. I would not be surprised if they bring some Harry Potter themed cosmetic packs out, things like that. Probably along with when the PS4, Xbox One game releases, again with the Switch, just every few months, just little cosmetic packs, because they are going to have in-game purchase now for the Dark Arts Battle Arena and things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see if we saw things like that as well.
Well, I was going to say that literally could just be the major hint right there, that the Dark Arts Arena is something you can purchase. And actually, there was another super chat later that said, they mentioned 2 other arenas. So like themed arenas or different wave-based, like different modes, basically. That seems kind of an obvious thing.
Spells too. Spells.
Yeah, spells.
Yeah.
They could also
okay. Well, if you add spells though as paid DLC, it depends on when you do it, because if you're doing it like a month or 2 in, you're gonna have, and rightfully, I'd actually take the outrage mob. Why isn't it in the base game? Stuff like that. So you got to be super careful. Cosmetics is already towing a line, which I think would be okay, but if it's spells or anything that has to do with the actual game and you do it too close, that's a bad look.
I think the simplest way to do a DLC would be a portkey DLC. So you could have the Ilvermorny portkey, and it could open up a little area that you can, explore in Ilvermorny, and it would appeal to those like the Americans to see Ilvermorny for the first time properly and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that would be the simplest way to do it, and it would be able to add like impactful DLC. So actually, you've got more quests, you've got more stories, you've got more areas to explore.
Absolutely, I think that's a solid idea, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if that would be on the cards. To be honest with you, I could definitely get behind that. While we're just talking about the kind of microtransactions and that kind of store, right? It's obviously a really contentious mechanic in modern day games, and I think there's a reason why they have not put that in a single player game at this stage. I think that's intentional because a lot of people would be quite upset about that. In actual fact, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been torched like constantly over the last 2-3 years for having so much microtransactions in a single player game. So I think they've done a really great job here. And I think this game is just a foundation. It's just does this game have legs? And if so, what are we going to do next? And I think opening the game up to kind of co-op and opening up to some sort of mechanical online feature, I could definitely see a queuing system where everybody queues in the lobby for certain positions in Quidditch, for example. Someone wants to play a seeker, someone wants to play a beater, someone wants to play a chaser, someone wants to play a keeper, and then everyone queues for those and plays against one another. I definitely could see that something happening. Or a co-op like we've discussed previously in a similar mechanic to Ghost of Tsushima, when you're playing together in a battle arena, dealing with waves and waves and waves. I think that would be something that would be, I wouldn't say easy to implement, of course not easy, but it would be the next stage on. And I think as soon as you start engaging a certain co-op or online aspect, that's when you can start popping in some acceptable way microtransactions in terms of kind of new items that people can wear and show off to their friends. I just don't think that it's going to happen in the main game anytime soon until we get those features.
I saw people in the chat say that we would form a Quidditch team. Like, literally,
Yes.
it'd be perfect. Here's
Whenever
one
we
I would-
bring up multiplayer,
Yeah.
sorry, Alex.
Go ahead,
it's like some people get so. There are some people who they want their story and that's it. And I get that. Like I want the story too. Trust me. But we talked about this a lot last time with Andy. I was so convinced for the longest time that they were going to go the Ghost of Tsushima route and something post-launch. And I said that in several videos. And then I want to say when Chandler first really started getting more out there in the public eye, one of the first things they said was like single player game.
Yep.
So I kind of backed off of it. But I just think, man, like if they have a chance to reset, I mean, just look at this right now, this stream that we're all doing together, this idea of community, like this game is already bringing so many people together that we would love to be able to join up for a co-op mission or do some kind of raid-like activity or play a game of Quidditch, whatever it may be. Yeah. And I hear that from so many people in comments. I think it doesn't have to be a full-blown MMO, but just something that would add some sort of multiplayer community type thing would go a long way for a DLC.
Yeah. Or if anything, another developer, like they see it, they know what we want, and they, have others working on it.
But I think because we didn't really have much from this franchise in the gaming for a while. And I think starting on a very solid ground, single player, no microtransactions, no nonsense like that, is a better way to technically sell future projects better.
So next up will be the free-to-play live service game,
and that would be absolutely perfect. Like if you develop a game sort of like Fortnite, but in the Wizarding world, it's free and it's filled with microtransactions. Sure, and I think whoever was on top in the Avalanche somewhere from there said a very strong word. We're not having microtransactions because the other part, the Warner Brothers part, was trying to get it. No, we have to do this, and it's creeping in by that push with these different packs, with these outfits. You can sense that Warner Brothers, no, we have to, but it's very limited. So there were some very strong decision making.
So I don't have a problem with microtransactions at all, as long as you know what you're paying for.
Right.
So if it's loot boxes, stuff like that, take it out. Obviously, Andy's 100% correct. I mean, at one point, Assassin's Creed, you were paying to get XP tokens in a single player game, and that was an Odyssey, and that was terrible. But like, if you've got the ability to buy a robe that you want, fine, I agree with it. But no, like you can't. I think there will be a lot more than we expect, but they're not necessarily microtransactions in that sense. They are, but you got a lot of games that kind of burned people with Assassin's Creed, Battlefront 2, games like that, where it was all loot box based, and you can't do that.
What an era!
Absolutely right.
This one was interesting because I actually was thinking about this when talking about the combat. I'm going to switch the question if I'm allowed to do so from the super chat. Instead of what happens if we get hit with AK, can enemies actually even do AK on you? Because that'd be an instant kill, and that's the first thing.
I've seen it.
You can't. They can.
Okay, so
I don't love that personally, but
I'm getting my pen.
Okay, no. So I was talking to Retro about this. If you look at the 14-minute, 11-second mark on the gameplay trailer from Ben's, you see a Dark Wizard from a vantage up top shoot a green like spell at you. And the indicator on the top of your head is not yellow, which is where for protect or deflect. It's red, which means you have to dodge to avoid the
Right.
attack.
What's the
That's
mark?
what it was.
What's
What
the
time?
mark?
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 14
14.
minute and 10-second mark
Yeah.
in the gameplay
I'll try to pull
trailer.
it up
Okay.
so we can watch it.
Yeah.
So you have to dodge. So
It's like
if you
Oh, I
have
see.
to dodge, that
Uh-huh.
means if you get hit by it, you're probably
Yeah.
dead.
Good
Yeah.
call. I think so. Yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah, you can also see Avocadabra being used on you in the gameplay reveal, and then
Yep.
you block it with what it looks like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You also have full health there, so it would be a one shot if it's red
Yep.
under that.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see if you get like a lifeline. Like if you don't perfect dodge it once, maybe you like sort of do some sort of animation that pulls a load of rocks up in front of you or something. Like if you get some sort of lifeline, so it's not always an insta kill if you don't
Ooh.
perfect dodge every time.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
See, I've
'Cause-
gone back and forth about that because in God of War it makes sense because you have like the runic stones that can pop you back to life. But in the wizarding world, it doesn't really make much sense if you die and come back because that doesn't really happen.
Making some Horcruxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even then, you're like a spirit or something for a while.
We have like slits for noses.
So
That's how it starts.
This is 14. So eventually we'd be able to see it.
Yeah, the
Is
guy
it
at the
14,
top.
10?
Footage is
It's
so
on the
good.
ledge.
On the ledge at the top. You see him outlined up here, up there.
Yeah, there he is.
Yep, he's about to shoot at you.
Oh,
You
right
see the
there,
red
yeah.
indicator
Nice,
right there.
nice.
Yep.
Yep.
boom.
Oh yeah, definitely
yeah,
green.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good call.
Great shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Nice. Also on the Imperio there, it just seems to be and makes sense that enemy characters kind of do your bidding, which we kind of like suspected, right? But did we get a timer on that? I haven't seen like a timer. Do we know how long that
I
lasts?
kept looking to see if it went away. I personally
Right.
never noticed it go away,
No,
but that
he was
doesn't
doing
mean
it
it's
to me.
not a
Yeah, I
timer.
didn't notice.
The
Well, we're
last
moving
enemy we
along.
kill is still Imperio.
Which
And I
doesn't
think-
mean there's
Yes.
not a timer, though. It just means
Yeah.
they took him out before a potential timer ended. I was thinking the same thing,
Right.
Andy. I was watching in the
Hmm.
corner of the screen and being like, when is that going to go away? Because it could be an
Yeah.
upgrade thing where it's limited, but there could be an upgrade where it's unlimited, where it's like
Right.
a
It's a-
30-second, then you can do it
It's a
forever.
s- You're absolutely right, mate. It's a super interesting mechanic because I think that you're basically adding allies to your kind of repertoire of combat, right? So you'll probably have your companions with you, but then if you start blasting off, Imperia, you could potentially have 3 or 4 people, like a bit of a small kind of battalion, essentially going against all of these wizards, right?
Yep.
Which is super cool, but also it's got me curious about how perhaps that spell could be used in other environmental kind of situations, such as using it to kind of do you then control that person that can then open up a certain door, or you have to get them out of the way, or or is it just a case of just casting that just in combat? Is it just a combat centric spell? I'd be really keen to know.
I could see them
doing it
doing it through a
combat.
quest at some point where you have to
Yeah.
do it for a specific. But I
Yeah,
think
sure.
generally it would be only in fighting. But it would be a
Well,
cool
yeah.
quest.
Imagine casting it on a dragon and then you have
Yeah,
a dragon.
yeah.
on the side.
I think that could be used quite well with goblins because we know in certain areas, like in like Gringotts, certain doors only open if a goblin
Yeah,
puts a hand on it.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you could use that potentially in open world gameplay to unlock certain areas that are only goblin areas by getting
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
give it a straight.
exactly.
Yeah, because
Exactly, but-
books.
Yeah, but then
Uh,
do we then take control? So do we kind of like, like we've discussed previously in World of Warcraft, you could do this mind control with the priest class. You're basically what happens is your character then jumps to the character that you're controlling, and then
Yeah.
you are then running around as that character, but it's only time based. So you only have 30 seconds. And it's also range sensitive. So if you go too far, then it breaks.
Right.
If you're outside of combat and then cast that spell, do we take control of an NPC that then opens up specific spells or abilities that then appear on your spell diamond as that character that you're taking control of,
Oh,
which
wow.
then opens up different kind of environmental options. I think that's an interesting kind of thought when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking actually that was my theory that, yeah, you can take control of a person, so to say.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Because they did explain Imperio and they
Mhm.
in their post. Remember that they did the post,
Halloween post, yeah.
Yeah.
and it literally says that it becomes just your You know, it
puppet
goes on your
or
side. It
whatever,
fights on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
armor.
Maybe it's just that then. Maybe
Yeah,
these
probably. Yeah.
maybe these spells are just fundamentally these unforgivable curses are just fundamentally in combat. That and we
Yep.
can only use them perhaps in certain areas or against certain enemies, and that's that. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
interesting because they talked about Avada being like close to the fidelity of like what the spell does. So like in the actual wizarding world, if you
Yeah.
cast the Imperious Curse, then you would have like more of a there would be more options outside of
Right.
combat. But I could
Yeah.
also see that potentially being kind of messy.
Yeah.
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 It's just
Yeah.
like they already have the like if they were to do that where it switches perspective, they already have the companion AI written, so they could literally just apply that to your character once you take control of the other character, so it follows you around and joins you in combat, and then once the time's up, you just return. So I mean, they'd have that sort of set up already if they did go that path.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're probably going to stick around forever, because it says in the post that all these allies take extra damage.
Damage. Yeah. So they probably die faster also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
probably get them and you have them until they're dead.
Yep. Yep.
I was noticing the first time he did it, it was at like the ledge we were looking at where the person shot the spell to the right, I think, and on the ground. That was the first time that they showed it. And I was looking because I was kind of interested, like, how aggressive will those enemies be once you control them? Like, are they going to, like, and they did actually move pretty darn slow in terms of activating to start taking other people's attention.
Yeah.
So that could actually be a solid, not that bad of a thing, though, if they take extra damage. If they're just going to rush in immediately, you're going to lose them in like 2 seconds.
Right.
They did seem, especially that first one they ever did it on, they took forever to actually start distracting people.
Let's actually pause on that, because it says, while under your control, they take reduced damage from other enemies. Other cursed enemies take extra damage.
Oh, so it's vice versa.
Yeah.
Sorry, I only read the
Interesting.
last sentence. But yeah, so if
Yeah.
they're under your control, taking reduced damage from other enemies to
So
prolong
they're
their
going to be
allegiance.
hanging around. It's just,
Wow.
will they be able to draw the attention from the others fast enough for you to be able to focus on like a troll or something?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the question.
You
I love how many
point.
different ways there is to do combat in this game. There's so many different ways. To do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Like you could literally play it that way and just have like your army of minions, or you could.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. So
you
good.
you could like, because you guys said like saying it doesn't like go away after time, like that's on the trolls and like the sort of minion wizards. But like if you did it on maybe like a boss who's like smart, or like a main character, or like some sort of wizard who's like a higher up level, like maybe one of the guys in the top hats, maybe they shake it off, because in lore like certain people could like shake off.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
True.
Yeah.
That's one of the unique things about Imperio is the stronger the wizard, they could actively
Yeah.
resist. Like we
Yeah.
see AK, mountain
Yeah.
troll, goblin, human, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But Imperio, I could definitely see, like, if you try to cast that against, I don't know, Rookwood or Ranrock,
Right.
whoever ends up being
Yeah.
the big bads, they're gonna either just like shake it off like it's nothing, or
Yeah.
want
I
That's
mean,
where
we saw
the level will play in probably of the
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
the levels too.
So,
Yeah, I
question
mean-
linked to this:
Go
do
ahead.
you think what do you think would happen to us if we get hit by it? Because we've seen Avada Kedavra be cast at us. Surely they can cast this at us. What do you think will happen to us?
You die.
I could see
There
if you
was,
had a companion, you'd attack the companion, but I don't know if you're on your own.
So I think it plays into everything you lot just discussed, which I absolutely love about resisting. I think I think it may have been in that battle arena. I think it may be Petrificus Totalis, which is cast against us. We have to press square to unbind ourselves or break that
Yeah.
spell.
Yeah.
So perhaps something like that as a gameplay mechanic. We have to like literally spam, like in God of
To
War, for
break
example,
out.
literally break it to break out of it. And the quicker that we do that, the more taps that we get, the quicker we break out of and resist that spell. Would
Yeah,
make
that'd be
sense
cool.
to me.
Good question. Here's one.
I loved the venomous, the
go
tentacula
ahead.
turret. Just
Oh
like
my God.
placing that and like shooting stuff out the seeds. I was like, oh my God.
That is
yes.
insane.
Do we think it's 1 year now confirmed? I say yes, and I do think he slipped up.
I missed that part completely. What was it?
Yeah,
what
I
was
didn't
that?
He
notice
said
it
through
the
your
first time.
year, singular, through your year.
Yeah.
and he said it to you when you asked.
I was,
about the-
to be fair, I was looking at the visuals.
I'm just saying, like, it was funny
hear.
that you actually like not attacking you. This
Right.
this is a savior moment. You started the whole thing. You asked how
Yeah,
the
yeah.
seasons affect the gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when he
Ah.
said it. So you
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
caused him to say it, which I thank you for. But he said through your year. And what's funny about it is right before he says through your year, he's talking about the seasons, and he makes a very, I think he's actively doing it. He doesn't say year. I don't remember what the word is, but he swaps it out where he doesn't have to worry about it being singular he doesn't have to do it. But then when he says through your year, he switches into that. So I do think that was a slip up.
What was
Yeah.
our original thing? Did
Is
we
it
update?
confirmed?
Oh, order or
No, I mean like because we had this question before. 1 year
yeah, we've
versus
had
3 year,
predictions.
right?
I feel
Or
like we've jumped.
more.
I think it would make sense to have 1 year if like they're, I don't know. Continue
Yeah, I
then
think
later
it's
with other stuff with the go into the 7th year. If there is another one, I don't know.
The question I was asked, and I saw people bring this up, and it got a lot of hate, but I actually think the person brought up a good point. Now, I don't think any of us have this issue, but let's go through. This is maybe a longer question. When we've talked about going back in for years 6 and 7, we've always talked. We've actually never talked about like it's the same environment. Now, for us, I don't think it really matters. And also, you think about Harry Potter, you're always going back to the same spot, and then they spice it up by putting you in different places depending on the year. Harry's got different adventures. But in gaming, it's extremely rare. It's never been done, but it's extremely rare to redo the same environment for multiple games. Spider-Man 2 is about to live this potential issue. So if we do go back for year 6, do you think they have a problem because it's the exact same terrain and everything? Because you can't really change it. You can only put us in different, like if you do a tri-wizard thing, maybe you can transport us somewhere else. You could do a different school. And the person who suggests that to me got a lot of hate where it's like, well, of course we would want to go back and replay it. But then I thought, well, yeah, we do. But gaming wise, it's actually pretty rare to go to the exact same location for that. It's
Yeah.
almost seen as a lazy thing.
Yeah, because with Miles Morales, they had the same map.
And people complain big time.
And it was a full game. Yet people were like, "Oh, it's a DLC." It's like it's literally it's a full game,
Yeah.
but because it's the same map, people were like, "Oh, it's just an expansion." Like,
And to be fair, I just started playing Miles Morales. It is like, yeah, it literally is the same map during winter, and it felt like it is its own story, but it feels like I didn't start a new game. I continue playing Spider-Man as Miles Morales. You know what I'm saying? But for example, there is Shadow of Mordor and War, so they expanded upon themselves more drastically. It's kind of
that's what I think is tough.
It's
really
tough. I think it's a super good question. I think the big selling point is going to Hogwarts, right? That us living out our kind of like Hogwarts fantasy, which is sick. But there's also, I think it's like 11 other schools around the world.
Yeah.
So could you have within this kind of like Hogwarts Legacy franchise, perhaps DLCs or other storylines based in different schools and learn different magic and the customs and culture and history of those particular schools? But I'm not sure if that of the legacies, but I'm not sure if that would be enough of a selling point if it was to be the next game. I don't think it would. People would be super pumped about it. Just purely because
Ilvermorny would be a massive selling point if you went to Ilvermorny.
But like I don't the mass.
It's for us. Yeah.
If you just went up on the street and was like, "Hey, like Ilvermorny," like people would know what Hogwarts is, but not gonna know what that is. Just if you like walk up to a random person. So it's like the core like massive fan base knows. I don't.
Okay, I think an easy fix would be from a narrative standpoint. Do you guys remember when Harry was able to apparate?
Yeah.
Was it 5th year? Maybe no.
5th or 6th year, somewhere around that time, right?
6th, yeah.
Okay,
he learned it with Dumbledore, didn't he?
Okay, all right. So I'm like, okay, fix that. Just have to introduce different classes, which you do in the 6th year. Introduce more terrain, which you can do if you can apparate. Introduce port keys and start expanding the world instead of going to a different place altogether.
You can
just use it narratively, and you learn better spells, harder spells, and a bigger threat. And my thing has always been, especially with the big bad, big bad might not necessarily be Ranrock. That might be something you have to do to complete stuff. But if we're trying to stay focused on the narrative aspect, which is what they are, Avalanche Software, they can sprinkle in a big bad and introduce them eventually coming up at year 6, 7, while expanding the world that they've built, and then have these side games for other aspects of the Wizarding world that we want to explore, like at Ilvermorny or even Quidditch or other parts. But the world is huge. Just expand it. You don't have to go to another school.
One of the
Yeah,
things
and
we don't
it's
really talk
interesting.
about is there's another storyline that we haven't, like, no one seems to mention, but this corruption.
Yes.
It could
Yes.
be growing throughout this storyline. So when you play the next year, the corruption could have spread so far that actually a lot of the areas that you've explored previously will be completely different. Or maybe during the Battle of Hogwarts, if there is one, you know, things will change. It, like, maybe the ancient
Ministry
magic
steps in,
changes,
like-
changes certain locations or changes certain things, and actually areas that you've been to before will be completely different.
Yeah. And even in the Harry Potter series, so like, of course, so like the threat changes. That's what I love about stories. Is like you have a mini arc or like a smaller arc that's contained in a 1-year time frame, but then have this bigger mission. So James, you mentioning the ministry, you know, like when it becomes more serious of people being like, let's get involved, like they're and learning or becoming stronger or finding other allies. There is potential of kind of having it have this bigger arc over time, especially since a lot of it is kind of unknown of what's going on here, you know?
Yeah, the core is Hogwarts. That's the selling point.
Yeah,
That is the selling point to everybody, casual gamers, Harry Potter fans alike. Hogwarts. Keep that as the focal point and just expound around that. Keep that as your center. Yo, it's so much you can do. This world is so expansive. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't need to go anywhere, and just bring in new teachers, more NPCs, other outlets, maybe introduce Azkaban if it's not in this one. Like, there's so much they can do. They don't have to go anywhere.
I had to step away for just a quick second. Did anybody bring up the whole Chudley Cannon poster thing?
No.
Alex, maybe you can,
Troy
maybe
had
you can
fixed
catch
that.
people up.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm wondering, was the Daily Prophet in the first trailer incorrect?
Yeah, I've been thinking of it.
Yes, it is. I think it is. It is.
Obviously, we see a quest with Nearly Headless Nick, where he's mentioning the headless hunt and stuff like that. If it is 1892, it will be his 400th birthday.
Yes.
And that would. So obviously that would be a really cool like side quest. You're preparing for that and things like that, having his party. So
It'd just be so funny if we just took that first date and we just ran with it, and then they're like, "Oh, actually,
flashback.
We're changing that." Yeah, it could be.
But
could
do
be
you
a flashback,
think they do
or it
that
could just
because of
been an error.
Dumbledore? Does that fully stop it?
No,
I honestly think it fully stops it because they don't. I've never seen developers come across so selfish in the right way, where they say it's all about you. Like, who cares about anybody else? It's you. And that does not sound to me like you're going to introduce a wizard that everybody loves. And, it's tough.
So how's the 1892 fix then, according to?
So you guys think the newspaper's wrong, and
or
or it's an old newspaper.
Yeah, the rebellion was building up
Yeah.
over a few years. Like Ranrock became
I think it
big
could
in
just be
1890.
what we had discussed with the poster, where it's like a promotion for it's in the future.
2 years ahead, though. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
But don't they? But you don't know when the last time they won. It could just be, well, they're doing it for the next one, and then they're going to do it the year after, and they're just keep going. Because the way Troy, he had to have had a conversation with them.
Yep.
Yeah, like, just in case anybody in chat didn't catch this. So everybody, of course, jumped on the Chudley Cannons poster and the date when it was shown there. And Troy even said he was going to, like, take this, send it to his people that he knows or something. He doesn't work there anymore, but he's like, I'm going to send this to them because it looks like the community caught an error. So he, a guy who worked on the game, thought it was an error. And then later, like, I saw it from you, Alex, a couple of weeks later, I guess Troy tweeted out again and said,
fixed it.
I made a mistake. I should have I shouldn't have said it. So then it's like, and then we saw the Chudley Cannons poster again.
Yep.
In a different seen. So it's like, okay, the Chudley Cannons poster is correct.
But
so what I was
Yeah.
saying is maybe the Daily Prophet in the first trailer,
Exactly.
maybe that's either incorrect and they just straight up
But
changed it.
it's
See,
Go ahead, Ben.
Sorry, because that state of play, that shot of the newspaper is so deliberate, it's so part of it. They wouldn't be making a mistake there. I feel like the Chudley Cannons would be more chances to be a mistake than that close
I don't
up.
think it's
And
right.
yeah.
my
Either way.
my piggybacking is that I put more value, for some reason, I put more value on his first tweet that he called it out. The fact that he literally thought it was an
Yeah,
error
'cause
means
then
he
he-
knows in his
Yeah.
head, I made a game
Yeah.
that was in 1890, and that's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
That's how I've always read it. It doesn't matter what his second tweet said. It's that he thought it was an error in the first place. And
Yeah.
the clarification, I think, James, you and I think you're the one who came up with that idea of that it's just a promotion for the next year. I think you
Yep,
said that
yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
So I really think because he pointed out it is just a promotion, he didn't know that. And then they told him that, and he said, oh, okay. Christ is a
Yeah, I guess it is that thing as well. Like, this game does go into 1891 if it's a school year.
Yeah.
If you start in 1890, you're going to be playing till July 91. So
Right.
92 is only 6 months
Yeah.
from that date.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
It's deep, and I can't wait to ask him that question.
If it is at the end of the game as well, the Quidditch season probably runs from 91 to 92.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
doesn't the thing that determines the winner, isn't that right before the school year? I'm pretty sure.
In summer,
So
I mean,
it'd be like August or September. So if it's a poster that they put up,
Yeah,
in
it would have to
June,
be
it
during
makes
the
sense.
summer. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, see,
It's deep.
I don't know how that, because that it's
still
for
doesn't
the,
answer.
it's not the Quidditch World Cup, is it?
No.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
the-
a quick
It's
season
not-
that goes
it's the
on.
season,
Yes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
made
It'd be like
I
a
messed up on that
September-
too at first.
September
True.
to
That's
May
a good
sort
point.
of thing.
Retro.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about the private
Google knows.
tournament.
Because we
I
often
thought I
run
looked it
into
up
this
on the
with-
fandom page for it when it first came out, and I swore that it said like it gets determined in the summer for the winner.
I
said it
have
right or wrong.
a thing just with everything that we've seen so far, with the first showcase, all the trailers, all the theories we had, and now showing this with customization of rumor requirement, and us thinking that it could be 1 year. Just the last thing that Chandler says, that all this is just the tip of an iceberg.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How?
crazy.
They've shown so much,
Yeah.
and this is.
But
a
he
tip of an
also says
iceberg.
like, "Oh, we're not going to show you everything," because I see that comment over and over of like,
Yep.
I don't want to
Yep.
see any more. I don't want to be spoiled. And he's like, "Trust me." Like,
Nothing.
Yeah, it make
you
them
know?
confident enough to be showing this, because this is just like, this is nothing.
That's what, and that's the thing. Like, I'm like, we haven't touched story. We have not touched storyline at all.
That's
And this
true.
game is narrative based.
Yeah.
We're just seeing features.
Yeah.
So that tip could just be some of the features with story huge underneath the water. Like, that's, man, this game.
I think that's why we need to see. I think that's why we need to see a side quest in our next showcase that we discussed earlier. I, as a fan, I want to see. It could just be some run-of-the-mill standard side quest. That is totally cool, but I just want to see the progression from start to finish, including some of these gameplay showcases that we've seen so far. So it all comes together into this nice quest line, nice side quest, and we can go, okay. So this is how this game works. Fast traveling back and forth, all that kind of stuff.
Do you almost feel that, because it seems like if there's anything they're being super secret of, it is like cutscenes / stories. Like it's, I almost get the sense that although I've been asking for like a year to just see one quest play out, I almost feel like they're terrified to do it because we will break it down. So like we literally could have got the headmaster.
Yeah.
We literally could know that Black is the headmaster simply from the one side quest talk with the girl in the yard. That's it. I mean, the Slytherin thing now in the office, that I think solidifies it. But the one scene where she just talks about, again, if it's happening currently or in the past with the headmistress, like that literally was enough for us to figure it out. So maybe they don't want us digging too much. Like, I feel like they're being super secretive on the story.
Hector Weasley, anybody?
Oh my god.
Hector freaking Weasley.
That's right. I can't believe they found
So
that.
now I'm
funny.
wondering, like, is it Jenkins in the real game or is it Weasley in the real game? Because now we know we've seen evidence that they're changing.
I mean, it was originally Weasley when I was there, and then
He became a Jenkins
released
a few
it.
weeks later.
So, yeah,
Oh, man.
that's crazy.
What was
That's
your
fucking
biggest takeaway from the showcase? One thing. James, we'll go with you.
The end. Yeah. Merlin, let's go. That's my answer.
Oh man, I'll say the all the customization. I just didn't expect that level of detail on that. I was gonna say a second ago, I kept wanting them to go in the house when you were outside in the, well, I guess it's not technically outside, but in the vivarium, and you can see that little hut over there. You're customizing all this stuff around the trees. I'm like, what's inside? Do we have like our own little house that we change our bedside tables in there?
I think my biggest takeaway is just how big the game actually is going to be. And they keep talking about, the game's huge. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Anywhere you can see, you can go. But then I just kept thinking, we can own our own shop at Hogsmeade. And I'm like, with all that customization, with being able to own your own shop, with being able to go anywhere, I'm just like, this game's going to be huge. And my life is going to be consumed.
For me, it really was the gameplay, the combat. Like, I think with these type of games, I'm going to spend, and I'm sure you guys are the same, and a lot of people watching, hours upon hours of exploring this game, and perhaps hours not in combat. But I think for this game to be enjoyable, you're going to have a solid combat system which can actually make you feel like a witch or wizard, pinging off spells, deflecting spells in duels, and defeating enemies. That, at its core, needs to be really, really good for me. But also I think for a lot of people who are kind of casually interested, because that's also a big audience, and people who perhaps aren't as into the wizarding world that we are, but are kind of like, maybe I'll pick this game up. Maybe I'll give it a go. Maybe I want to feel like a wizard in combat dueling. So for me, it really gave me a lot of confidence as like a fan, but also as someone who plays a lot of single player games, that this combat system looks pretty good. It looks really fun. It looks really immersive, and it also looks really challenging. And that I found quite exciting.
Yeah, well, to me, the biggest is the room of requirement. Oh my God, customization, everything. And as Nightly Nerd said, that we have a shop, we have our kind of hub with a backyard. It's insane. The game is going to be huge.
Yeah, for me, it's sort of the same thing as Andy said. It's like it's always looked like a great Wizarding World experience. But with this showcase, it sort of highlighted the fact that this could be like a legitimately good game that will be like, Elden Ring, God of War, like those sort of like games where it's like, oh, this is an actually good game, and the whole community sort of agrees on that, versus just like, oh, you can explore Hogwarts. It has spells. That's cool. So that was my biggest thing.
Like, it's not like a Hogwarts simulator. It's actually a Hogwarts game, right?
Yeah, I think I'll just echoing these comments. Like, this game is for everyone. Like, that's what I felt, is that I know that we've seen some stuff, and I've definitely tempered my expectations, expecting simplicity and like, oh, they're going to like not have this deep complexity, whether it's combat or customization or whatever it is. But like, it truly feels like this is the Hogwarts RPG that fits anyone's story of like, it really feels like Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be it for you and for me and for everyone, and I'm very excited for that. I know. I'm so like, this showcase completely blew me away. Yeah, this is an hashtag. No, just kidding.
Sponsored by WB. Oh, we found her.
No.
She's next. So I've been very vocal in James's Discord as well. I'm very much on the Merlin hype train. So the end was pretty impressive. But I think, although how incredible that was, the combat for me was something I wasn't massively looking forward to. I thought it was going to be a bit of a third person shooter type thing with a bit of complex spells, but just seeing the amount of ways that you can tackle enemies has made me actually really excited to play the combat, which each of these showcases just makes me more and more excited for different things. And they're just the dev team and the media team are just absolutely smashing it. They really are. Everything they do is just brilliant.
I'll have to go with the room of requirement again. It's not even something I was expecting to be excited about, but when they started customizing the ceiling, I don't know why. I freaked out. Like that is just, and it's something I wasn't expecting. Just the amount of it's a completely different game up there, while it still ties into the main game. Yeah, it's like almost a separate sort of just Sims, live your life, chill out for a bit, and the just amount of details. You go to Hogsmeade, you can buy stuff. It's almost like a Stardew Valley, almost like you just go to Hogsmeade, buy your things, come back, chill out with your pets. Yeah, just the amount of detail. I was blown away and just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting combat to be amazing. But the depth of the room requirement was mind blowing.
Yeah,
and I loved Ben's question there too. He was like, "Where do you get all this stuff? You buy it? I mean,
furniture store."
Yeah,
they're good. They're good points too. And that I think when I asked Troy in one of the videos, and I was asking him about like who's it made for, and or like hardcore people gonna, and it was almost like a blanket. It's for a blanket amount of people, and they've really proven to me that like my biggest takeaway is actually a mix of what all of you have said. They've proven that it will be an immersive, just a tour of Hogwarts, but it also does have like a Arkham free flow kind of, style combat with spells, which is sweet. And then they're hiding the story elements. So you don't even still know about the potential of how good that is. And then you also have Animal Crossing / Dreamlight Valley, all that stuff which I don't care. Like I'm not going to do it, but that's such a huge group of people that probably could care less about the combat. So you have and the only downside is if you fail to deliver on like one of them is just vastly, lower than the rest. But so far, other than hiding the story elements, they've proven that every element they've shown has been high quality. Combat, they just did it. Story and characters and stuff, they still have to. And as long as they do it, then it's one of the most well-rounded games I would imagine you could do.
I think about the story, because it is a tricky place where you can't really jump in right now revealing stuff, because then it becomes too much. So I think but even looking at the state of play, the plot that they set up is intriguing enough to explore. Like you have different storylines going on: corruption, goblin rebellions, ancient magic, what's up with that? And then I think it's James pulling the Merlin side also. It's like you have so much mystery and there's enough of that. So I going further, I guess, getting showcase or not, or at least story, just like cinematic trailer, just story driven, like having a situation or a confrontation between someone could put some more intrigue on that. But yeah.
And then Joe had said, this is fun. Tip of the iceberg. Icebergs go down deep, deep below the water.
Is it a hint? Was that a hint from Chandler?
Yes. Oh my God. If it is, oh my God. Imagine how
so subtle.
Yeah.
We have to read into
he
everything.
He is sneaky
now.
though. Like he comes up with real good hints.
Oh, he is.
Do you know one thing that we have? One thing that we've kind of discussed, obviously briefly, is the customization, but we haven't really talked about like the actual robe customization, also the traits and the sockets and the different level of robes, and also transmogrification as well. I think that's absolutely massive.
So good, yeah.
So good. I'll just be really keen to kind of hear your thoughts specifically on the traits, because for those of you who aren't aware, my understanding thus far, and Ben, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, mate, but I think that the traits are kind of like these socketable, not gems, but things that you can add to your robes as your level of that robe increases over time. I think there's 3 levels. I think there's like superior. I wrote this down actually. Was it superb, extraordinary, and legendary? I think are the 3 levels. Is that right? Yeah. I do wonder if actually it has got me thinking that perhaps that's how we customize our spells. That's how we edit our spells. Not perhaps in the talent menu. Maybe that is the case, or maybe these traits are just something to enhance our actual gameplay. Perhaps not as severely as the traits or as impactful as the traits, but maybe just add kind of extra touches. I'd be really keen to hear everyone's thoughts on like this customization at the loom in Room of Requirement and perhaps the impact like it may play in our particular playstyle. Don't know if anyone has thoughts about that.
I mean, to me, it feels familiar to how it is sort of in God of War, I want to say, because you have your gear, you can upgrade, make it more powerful, but then you have runes, and you can add certain feature, extra little flair to that gear or outfit. So it feels like that's basically the system, essentially.
Sure.
And
I just wonder.
Being specific with like, okay, so I noticed one of them was like spider protection. I don't know if that was the actual phrase, but like, okay, I'm gonna go out into the Forbidden Forest. Like, I'm gonna make sure that I have a particular protection to help me. Like, in terms of like prioritizing of I'm gonna do these particular quests. Like, this is gonna help me out overall. So I liked that. I like seeing. I wish like everything. Like, scroll down a little more so I can see. You know, what are some other things we got here?
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
I think it just adds to the complexity of the game. You think combat, okay, I can change around my spells. Okay, there's a spell wheel. So I gotta set my spells up for certain situations based off the enemy camp I'm going into or the dungeon or where I'm at, you know. So I gotta make sure I'm going to spend a lot of time here. But then the room of requirement, I'm going to be spending a lot of time here, making sure my drip is straight, is fire first and foremost, and then adding the traits and stuff that I need to for that situation that might match the spells that I want to have it lined up for said situation. Right. So like it just adds so many layers to just the witch or wizard you can be. And with all those options, it's going to be surprising to see a same option throughout just amongst us, let alone everybody else, you know? So that's what's so cool about it.
I just on the back of that, I'm going to watch you, James and Ben, very closely again, actually, with this one, because this is kind of like, you've got me thinking again. So we've seen robes in there as kind of items in our infantry that we can edit with different traits. Do we have like gloves? This is from like this is what I'm going on from what we saw back in the Autodesk presentation about different slottable items. So do we our gloves, are they something we can equip? Okay. Okay, so that we'll take that one as a yes. Okay, so how about shoes? Is that's another one that okay, we'll take that as a yes. How about hat? Can we
just a straight up James interrogation.
Hat, to be hat was shown in their plug video. Remember?
It was.
All right.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
How
gonna
about
say.
trousers or pants? Okay, that's another yes. We're making some progress here. What else have we got on the cards? What else can we? Oh, rings. Rings was that the other one?
Ooh, trinkets.
So
Ooh,
perhaps all of these things they then open up, as you say, James, the complexity of it. Can we edit? Right, I'm asking you boys here. Can we edit or add traits into all of those different slottable items as well? Is that, or is it just in the robes? Okay, we're good.
Well, yeah, because in the showcase we add the traits to the sweater or
and the scarf,
and a glove. So yeah.
Yep.
And also a cool feature. I agree with James. I agree with James what he says about it's going to be so different from every other player because you can also swap the looks of an outfit based on the outfit's trait. So it looks like some outfits may be gonna have traits come with the outfit, but like you can swap just aesthetically how the outfits look. I think that's grand. Because, for example, in God of War, you don't really have that. And then they're only, this fully covered thing has these features and then another, but you like different feature, but don't like the look of it.
Right,
this
right.
solves that issue, so to say.
Yeah.
One thing I do like about things like this is I sort of think about the future of this game, and it's going to be really interesting to see when you've got like people like speedrunners or like the professional gamers. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to need to. We need to definitely go to this location first to pick up this item because this item's really important to get us through this bit. And I think just the way they're doing these sort of little things is going to be really interesting in that sort of community as well.
Ooh, I was talking to Retro, and Retro, you can back me up on this because we were just talking about like, you know, it'd be cool to have like co-op streams or something like that, or like races. So Retro and I would be all right. We're starting the game. We beat the game, got out all the tips. You know, whatever you need is already out there. Just check the thousands of videos that all of us have put out. What do we do to keep it live? So then we're just like, all right, let's race to see who can learn Crucio first, get to Sebastian's thing, and then, you know, play through it. And that's a, you know, that's a 2-3 week series right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So who can get the best times and stuff, like, you know, competition and stuff like that. So
what was the cabbage thing?
Chinese chomping cabbage.
Yeah. Somebody was saying, I wonder if we can do an entire playthrough, like only
Just with
using
that
the tool. That's like I said, that's a guaranteed million+ video right there. Full playthrough, only the cabbage.
You could also do things like full pacifist run and all that sort of stuff, like try not to hurt an enemy at all, and like see if there's ways of doing that, or full stealth, and they're just doing so much. They're putting so much into the game. It's
or the opposite, doing bad decisions all the time.
Only AK.
That's basically going to be my first playthrough.
That's what I do in real life.
I don't need any practice with that.
Let chat dictate what you do.
Oh my god! But so that's what I wanted to say. That then. It's on PC, I think some talented modders are gonna introduce some amazing mods eventually. That I'm looking so forward to. Because the mod, like, I'm just thinking about GTA types of mods, just chaos, apocalypses, turn every player into Voldemort or I don't know what. The sky's the limit, really.
I think we'll get Quidditch through mods faster than officially, to be honest.
Just how good is it going to be?
It's
true. Pretty good. So I got a question for you guys, and this has come up because playing Pokemon and playing God of War to finish that platinum. When you're playing God of War, you can't fast travel from anywhere unless you're at one of the gates. In Pokemon, since you have a mount, you can fast travel anywhere. What's it going to be like in Hogwarts Legacy? Because the God of War way of doing things is really slow. You can't get to where you need to go unless I have to run to this runic, and then I got to go here, and it's just, What do you guys think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be like Elden Ring or Pokemon. Just once you unlocked a flu network, it's available to fast travel to it. Unless you're in like a story mission dungeon and or in a battle, like you can't. That gets disabled.
I'm only conflicted because, as brought up earlier, there are so many of them so close. So it actually does make me think it's God of War, where you can go one to the next. Because literally, you could walk. I mean, you walk in a hallway or corridor in Hogwarts, and there's like 2
5.
So I actually think it'll be that one.
Yeah, they are so close together.
That's true.
It's more immersive that way, but it's more annoying when you're trying to get trophies.
But also, if you're going with lore, you like to use a flu network. You've got to be a flu network. So,
but didn't they provide some information about the location or a spot, or? Did they? Or was it
I
just
just remember, at least during yours, Ben, when Alan says early on you have access to the open world. So in regards to how to traverse that, that's.
I think you'll have to probably
anything.
go and start to, you'll have to start to unlock them just by walking out.
Mm-hmm.
It also got me thinking, because we've talked about how do you like escape school and leaving at night and the stuff, and then him saying you can just go anywhere. That then starts to make me question how day-night cycles work and sneaking out. I still haven't seen that.
Do you know what? On the flu flame, I think that just purely on the basis of unlocking them is so easy to do just by walking past. There's no cutscene. There's part of me thinking that it's there because the world is so big that they want you to access these places quite quickly and keep you in the game and not make it kind of monotonous to do so. Or perhaps they could take the alternative route of you are only required to fast travel if you have a certain amount of flu powder as a consumable in your inventory, which you then have to purchase. Or what they could then do as an incentive to kind of get you on your mount consistently throughout the game to explore the game that way is to kind of, like, I would say, put a timer restriction on how many times you can actually use the flu network. Maybe there's a cooldown time of, like, every 30 minutes of some kind. I think there's loads of different kind of variations here, but if I'm honest, with such a vast open world game, I don't think they're going to want to frustrate players. I think it's going to be an easy, quick run up to the flu network. Okay, we're jacked in kind of thing. Let's go where we want to go if we've been there. I think it will be a lot easy and quick, to be honest with you, but could be wrong.
Anybody else?
I like the idea also about having like actually consumable flu powder, because to do upgrades on the gear, we will need ingredients to do that. There's Jobberknoll feather, Niflfa, toad warts, or some other stuff. So it might as well be that it's a thing it's a consumable.
Ben, like when you just said that, mate, like James had the biggest ear-to-ear grin. I don't know if it's because of chat.
I'm just
having
guessing
that
right now.
flu powder consumable there is
No. That is
No.
that was a theory I had.
Right.
I hadn't actually made a video like ages ago, like how
okay.
it would work and stuff based off.
How much of the game do you think James even played?
He's got a copy
James played it all.
I really don't.
All of it. He's now on the development team.
I don't know. I know nothing. So yeah.
Anybody who didn't go on the fast travel that wants to? Or let's see. I'm catching.
One other thing about the fact, like, they're so close together in the school, but we saw that huge open world. So I'm like, what is it like out there? They're probably not as close together. So do you just have to fly? Because I sort of agree with you guys in that I think you will probably have to go to each one before you can just fast travel. I mean, because apparition, of course, is a thing in the wizarding world too, but it's not supposed to be possible on Hogwarts grounds.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of ways they could do it, though, for sure.
You actually see the flu flames turn green when you
walk
unlock
by.
them.
Yeah.
So
I love because James had that deep dive of like, do we get the flu powder? Where do we get the flu powder?
The only place you can get it
who sells it?
is in Diagon Alley. That's the only place that sells it in the Wizarding World. So I was like,
and then they're just
Diagon Alley confirmed.
Just walk by.
Just walk by it. I was like,
and it's not like it would be too expensive to have, because technically it's
I think it's
Flu Network was more like even the Harry Potter, right? The fact that Weasleys were using flu powder, and then Malfoy's looking down on them like, oh,
creamsicles, something like that.
Yeah.
They just had a giant pot of it.
That character does seem rich though, because in the trailer he literally flicked 10 galleons at someone like it was.
Yeah, no. Can we talk about that? How?
Yeah, there's a super chat. Let me pull up the super chat that goes with it. But go ahead, Lynette.
No, that also caught my attention. I was just like, oh, how cute. We're gonna tip 10. Is that a galleon?
Galleon?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, he was good, but
yeah, where do we have money from?
Sure, that shop is coming in clutch.
Well, but before that, do we have allowance from someone?
Our parents. No.
I think they did.
Rest in
It's
peace.
the Hogwarts Reserve in Gringotts. They just give us money because we're special. Yeah, exactly.
And they stole. I mean, we're already evil. Stole someone's butterbeer.
I wouldn't drink butterbeer just sitting
bit of mind sweeping at the end of the night.
Do you think they did the butterbeer thing because they heard people talk about the apples or whatever? Or
Wait,
what was the thing they were eating? That's the only thing you could have done.
The tea.
The tea from the first day to play.
Oh, it was tea?
I mean, from this showcase.
It was tea and apples.
Apples in the common rooms and stuff.
Can we get drunk?
Tea. Yeah. Alcohol is up there on the rating.
Yeah, on the tea rating.
Yeah.
So when you look at that scene and you go to the pop-up shop behind him, there isn't an icon on the map for the pop-up shop, but there's an icon for literally everything else.
Yeah.
Why isn't there one for the pop-up shop?
Maybe we haven't talked to them. Or it's an
Maybe.
underground pop-up shop and it's kind of
Maybe.
trading some shady things.
Or they're hiding it via the dev kit.
Talking
yeah,
about
that's yeah.
I don't know if I don't.
That's where you buy your flu
such
powder.
a good find. I
Yeah.
don't know if they had the foresight to hide it.
talking about different icons. Yesterday I had a very long chat on Discord, about 3 hours. So the Revelio pages, it seems like those icons with little question marks are the
Yeah.
Revelio pages because they correspond. I
Right.
wonder if you can like turn that off specifically for that, because Revelio pages, I feel like I just want to
So like
discover
individual
them
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
in
like
worlds
a,
without seeing them on the map at all.
that's
'Cause-
something I didn't like about Spider-Man when you play that game, where you have like the backpacks for token, literally all the collectibles
Oh
on the map.
yeah.
And I don't. You want to find them, So if that is an option, definitely to turn things like that off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to find them for myself. I hate games like that.
Yeah,
Have they
unless
talked-
you Revelioed an area around you, maybe then it appears, sure.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Have they talked about like accessibility? And because I remember with James, because I want to turn the I'm not playing it with numbers popping off enemies. I just refuse. But did they say you can even turn them off or not?
They said that you can turn off like the map or the HUD, I think.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But that's
I hate the number popping. I always have. I always will.
which
So-
one? What are you
Yeah.
talking
Like
about?
when you
When
when you hit
damage,
enemies,
the
and
damage,
numbers
like-
Yeah.
pop
The
off.
number of damage.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'd never liked it. And I don't think it belongs in games like that. Or Gotham Knights. I'd never. If you watch any of my recorded gameplay of Gotham Knights, you won't even know it exists in the game. They just turn it
Huh.
off.
Yeah, they've had that FAQ question up on the site for a while. Will Hogwarts Legacy include accessibility features? And it says that it will,
Coming
but
soon.
we'll have more details to share at a later
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. You got 2
Yeah.
months less.
Yeah. Yeah.
The day before launch, we will share.
And I believe these, if say at launch it's still there, but then I feel like to turn something off, like a number, it's a feature that can
pretty-
be brought up with an update later
Yeah.
on, I feel like.
Yeah, you would hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite like the numbers. I like going, oh my god, I just hit him for 10k. Like, I like that feeling.
It's just so in your face. I think it distracts. That's why, I like. You guys mentioned like the sounds. I loved hearing just the crackling of spells and stuff. I don't care to see big bold numbers pop off. I want to see me hit the enemy with, That's just a personal. But that's literally the point. It's a personal
Right.
preference. So let me turn it on
Yeah.
or off.
Yeah. Sure.
They did say at one point that you can turn like the whole hub off. Like,
Yeah. It's pretty vague. I don't know. Because I feel also in James's showcase in that section, Alan was talking about, those sorts of customizing.
Yeah, because I
visually
think somebody
are
told me
important,
because
right?
I freaked out in like the video. I'm pretty sure somebody told me like, "Don't worry." He said something that would hint that you will be able to turn it off,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's been confirmed.
It's pretty vague, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you get? Well, I look for the next super chat. What do you guys think that like even taking a look at the calendar, like in 2 months, the majority of us will probably have beaten this game. Like, what's that even like to think
I feel
about?
like you overestimate my power at gaming.
I don't think y'all are gonna finish before me.
I won't finish in the
Okay,
first
but
week for
playing
sure.
it,
Because
think
I
why
will take
we're
my
looking
time.
Too deep into my question.
Yeah.
The fact that
Yeah.
we get to play the game in 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I
that's
see,
nuts.
yes.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So
It's
I'm
unbelievable.
setting
I
to
can't
make
believe
it my 200th platinum.
You have that
Oh,
many?
yeah.
You have
No, I
that
have-
many plan.
I have 112 right now, so I've
Saw
got
your
3
tweet
to
about
do.
this.
He's on a mission.
And yeah, I know what I've got to
Have
do.
you played
but,
the My Name is Mayo game? Because
yes, 3 times, and
There you go.
Whoa.
that's
yeah,
the
there's-
easiest
nice.
platinum to get. You just have to play it.
I'm planning on God of War being 150, so I have to save a trophy for 150. But
So are
Yeah.
you're for real, like actively trying to get a? Oh my
That's
goodness!
so
Like
many.
88 platinums. or
it'll
something.
be
That's
200
dedication.
for me.
So you're gonna
Yeah.
do like the Hannah Montana?
Yeah, you have to do Hannah
No, I won't
All
do
those-
Hannah Montana. no.
Aw.
He's not that desperate.
Dude, every
No.
Telltale game is an automatic.
The
platinum
Lego
to
ones
beat
are
it.
really annoying.
Okay.
Oh, the Lego ones are tough. Yeah,
Lego.
My kids
I
play
did Lego
those games.
Hobbit, and that one bad.
I thought my 46 was impressive. I think that's how many I have. I got
I
God
was
of War
really
stuff.
happy I got 1 when I played Spider-Man.
I've got
Right.
4. Yeah. Nothing to gloat about.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man's like the only game I've ever like 100%.
By the way, who has actively Lego Harry Potter right now?
Me.
I'm currently
Noah
playing
Net's
it.
been
Yeah.
playing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
on the
cool.
last
Okay.
mission, I think.
Currently doing my walkthrough.
Good to know.
Mm.
But no, to go off of
What does that mean?
Alex, yeah,
I was like, wait, what?
yeah, send a DM like, I was like, what's going on? But no, what Alex was saying in regards to like us being able, well, possibly finishing the game in 2 months or whatever, and Lynette can back me up on this. Both of us covered like Wizards Unite back when it came out, 2019.
Yeah.
And how much fun it was, the hype, the anticipation, covering every bit of news, and the wonder that is when a game is about to come out and stuff. And the game ended like this year, back in January, at the end of January. So kind of going through it again now with Hogwarts Legacy, and that being the only game we're covering on the channel. It's been kind of special, just being able to now realize, okay, take those moments to take a step back and remember, like, okay, I didn't know Andy Reloads, and now I've done 2 streams with them. Like, I didn't know, these guys over here, and now like we're getting hate mail on Twitter with Nightly Nerd and stuff like that. So like, those little things in building community, and of course, little bit of news every now and then, in the hype and seeing everyone's reactions and stuff to this game that, again, most of us will have in a couple of months. I always try to encourage chat when we have our Wizarding Wednesdays, stop asking when's the next showcase, stop asking when we're going to get this. Like, enjoy what you have, because when you get the game, then that special feeling you're having right now is not going to be present for a while. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of true. And yeah, looking back, literally like remembering watching at that time just Alex's videos talking about a possible Harry Potter open world RPG.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to now, wow, what a journey. Seriously. And the community keeps growing. It's insane.
I think
I didn't think
this-
it'd be very big. Like, even though I knew Harry Potter was big, like, I didn't really think this would happen. This kind of stuff would happen.
James, I think you're spot on there. And I think that when this game is completed by people, and there isn't any DLC or any further information on the horizon, that hype, that will drain away, and people will move on. You, of course, will have that core audience such as us, and I'm sure we'll be covering the game like for the next however many years, of course, but there is going to be a lot of time in between that next big update or whatever that DLC is or whatever that next game is. It's a long road. So I think you're absolutely right, dude, to kind of be like, just enjoy this. Like, I'm having a great time, right? Even though I feel so unwell right now, I'm having a wonderful time, like chatting to all of you and everybody in chat. It's great. And I think it's good to kind of step back and be like, hey, this is super fun. Like, this is super fun.
Yeah. We all
Good
freaked
one,
out because of a jump. Like, I mean, it was just so amazing.
This whole part of my life is really peculiar to me. Like, I made my first video just because I wanted to make it. I didn't expect, like, the weirdest. I said to my friend, the weirdest thing about this sort of thing, this stream, is a lot of you guys I watch and have been fans of for a long time. And it's very peculiar for me to not sit here and fanboy the fact that you're here. Like, there's a very weird part of this for me. This, like, oh my god, this is really strange. But it's all because of this game, and the fact that it's coming up is so close now to actually, like, everything that, like, my channel and like a lot of your channels, like, I was watching you before I made content. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird concept now that this game is going to be coming out and I'm going to be playing it, and that's what the whole reason why I'm sat here today talking with, like, my fanboy moments with you guys is because of this game, and it's so close. I'm just so excited.
Yeah,
this is why we need co-op. This is why we need
right.
This is why. Like, this is literally why.
I mean, it's without a doubt, it's crazy. It's changed, I think, all of our lives. That's not hyperbole to say. The game isn't even out, and it's actually changed our lives, and us deciding to do this whole YouTube thing. James, I was talking to him about how, I mean, I think there may have been some other you on this tweet as well, but or Division, another Hogwarts Legacy creator, was talking about how we're the ones who helped inspire them to start. And I'm just like, my mindset is I'm still so far, like, I still feel like the up and coming, you know, like just trying out this YouTube thing. And then I've got people saying, you inspired me to get started. It's just, it's so surreal. Yeah. It's a cool experience.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. Sorry, James.
No, you good.
I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm making it up as you go along. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, when it comes to
I have no planned up.
These videos, like, you know, like it's a guessing game. You know, it's really ambiguous, but all I know it's a lot of fun, and those videos and making stuff is just like why we're all here, and I'm so glad I'm doing it. So if there's anybody watching, right, who's like, oh, maybe I should try YouTube, or maybe I should make some content, or maybe I should do something, but I'm not sure how to do it, I think the hardest thing is just doing it and trying it, because then I'm so glad that I did, because like, you know, I sat on it like, should I give it a go? I don't know, but I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm glad I did it, because now I'm here. So you know that. So and
like so many people, when they take a step out and try something, you know, success is in the eye, like, to me, in the eye of the beholder, like, you know, whatever you want to call it, but you change, you learn from it, you grow from it. And I know my kids are like, Dad, I want to make a YouTube channel because we play Pokemon all the time. Can we just like upload it? I'm like, bro, I'm already busy. Like, I can't upload your videos. But you know, at the same time, like, it's just, if it encourages somebody, my big thing is just the people I've been able to meet and the friendships that has been developed. Like, yo, Expecto Go might be gone in 5 years or whatever. You know, my kids get older. I'm going to be a coach or something, and I want to just focus on them. And, you know, I want to have this time and enjoy it. But like, yo, enjoy this, man. Like, this is cool. I have friendships now, started with Wizards Unite, that have like, that will never go away, because me and Sue decided to just make a video January of 2017 or 2018, you know, just because of that. You know, we were just like, you know, let's talk about this game. We're interested. We're, you know, all that stuff. But friendships, man, like, I've connected with so many of you guys just because I decided to hit record. And so it's not so much like, hey, I want to get subscribers or I want to do this. Like, it's the experience that comes with the process and the hard work that you put into it. You learn about yourself and what you can do, and then apply that to other aspects of your life, whether it's your marriage, your girlfriend, you know, partner, kids, you know, your proximity at your other job. Like, you're able to apply those things, and that, man, that's clutch, man. Like, you can't look down on that. So that's what's so cool about it.
I just want to say as well one thing. Sorry, just one thing. Like the community, not just us, but the wider community, like the people in the chat. I see YouTubers, and I've followed YouTubers, and they've put videos out about how there's like, they've got a toxic community, and the community like doesn't support them or doesn't support each other. But I cannot believe how friendly, engaging, and just welcoming everybody in this community is. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, to echo that, like, I truly, truly, truly hope that if anyone is kind of like, Hogwarts Legacy, I don't know, like, I mean, honestly, this is such a wonderful community. I truly wish that that the spotlight can continue to be on how wonderful the people in this group are, like, not just content creators, like everyone who is here, like, pre-launch, but even people coming post-launch, of that this actually is a truly remarkable, loving, accepting, and just great people. And and not to bring it back to that question about review bombing, but like, part of the reason why I don't care is because we have this, and like, that's all that really matters to me, is having these connections and these relationships, and that grow and be fostered within this little corner of the internet, and it's just really special.
Well said.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, Al.
We're all getting excited about this one.
Yeah, to step into the controversy where I feel most at home. And I always say it, but I mean, there's really no better spot to say it than like with the 10 of us. Like the review bombing, all of these morons online. The thing is, once you're actually here, you see the stuff that you guys have all done really well at putting it into words. I almost can't put into words because of how incredible it is. Like you can't fake this. You can't, and you wouldn't believe this. But I'm like a major loner. Like I don't like people at all. I don't go out of my house. I don't do anything. So the fact that I can do a 10-person thing is a kind of a miracle because I don't like people. So I think that just kind of speaks to, and you guys mentioned like the community, like it's gigantic and it really is the most diverse you can find. Nice. It's not just, the IGNs, it's the Kotakus, it's people who went after Troy. That's literally, I did it back in 2018. But the Troy thing, like I stepped up to bat for him, and I believe that like this is not a bad guy. Just like none of us are bad guys, just like the chat. So I think it's easy to talk when you got just a ideology up in your head, but when you actually live it, you realize no. I mean this is one of the most down to earth things. And you guys mentioned the whole arc of a game coming out, like what it's like covering as much as I have, you see, like it's a really special feeling, and it actually I don't think is going to be more powerful than Hogwarts. Leading up to a game, Gotham Knights for me, God of War, like there's that climb, and then it hits, and then it does actually completely fall off. But like all of those moments, there's some really special things, and we haven't gotten there yet. With the ending of Hogwarts, it's going to be bittersweet. It's going to be like Andy said, like there will be a falling off, and there will be a huge loss of interest, and but that's the way it is. And to like James actually said too, to ride the wave right now, just enjoy it. Yeah. And I was saying that's why it was such a huge moment when this game was freaking revealed, because you talk about it for 2 years when it's not even real. And you have people in every video saying, I don't actually think it's real. I think you're nuts. And then it actually does happen. That's a special moment in and of itself, where it's that we actually get this game. That's a whole wave too. So just to kind of throw that stuff in there. And to
I just want
to,
I think all of you have said some really top stuff. I actually, I want to give solid credit to Avalanche, to be fair, because they invited James and Ben. We're all small creators here.
Yeah.
And a lot of studios, they're going to bring in big hitters, big mass audience. Let's get this game out. Yeah. Nah, they've gone for some really great guys who embody the whole community and bring together some fantastic conversations, and they've invited you both down, and they've got your opinion on it, and you shared your opinions and thoughts, and it was great watching you. And I think that's really solid, to be honest with you. I really like that they're looking and they're understanding their own community, how it works and how it functions, and that really does come from the grassroots. It comes from these kind of streams and these kind of calls, because we're the ones who we live and breathe this kind of stuff every week with our normal jobs, right? And in our own time, we come together, and in our spare time, we do this for fun. It's not a full-time job. And I think when they're inviting people, like yourselves down there, that's solid. So, comparing that to other studios, to be honest with you, is a real good move. I really like that.
That's Chandler. That's Chandler.
I mean, he's been great from the start.
And
really engaged, understands everything.
Well said, Andy. God, well
doesn't
said.
Doesn't miss a trick, that man.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the little nod to "Wife Wants a Wizard" about the owls and that's someone who has a pulse on the community. That's someone who pays attention. Yeah. That's someone who wants the input from the community and knows these are the ones who's going to be playing, despite these cats over here who might have other ulterior motives. These are the ones we're gearing the game to. And he said it when they didn't get most anticipated game. He's like, yo, that's okay. We were up against some tough competition, but we're doing this for you guys. We're doing this for the fans. And yes, other community managers and developers have said something along those lines, but actions speak louder than words. And like you said, Andy, inviting someone like a Expecto Go or a Ben or whoever else is just something that you do when you have a pulse on the community and understand we don't want to get someone who's big and is just going to talk about us until that hype goes down and then move on. We want somebody who's going to come in and actually represent the community and show the love and care that we put into this game and appreciate it. And that's huge.
And it's such a big W. It's a big win. And if we get any more previews, Retro, when you fly out there in January, I'm going to be rooting for you as well, mate. But like, yeah, I think that's awesome. Well said as well, mate. Good work.
And I don't know how many of you, I mean, assume all of you are fans of the books, at least in some capacity. But for me, I was there like before they were movies, before a Scholastic book order is where I first saw Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Sorry, UK folks, the philosophers. I know it's a touchy subject, but this is like the closest feeling to like that was my first experience with fandom was the Harry Potter fandom. I got my wife into Harry Potter and like explaining it to her for the first time, and she just gave me this. We were boyfriend girlfriend at the time, but she's just like, "What? You go to a midnight release for a book?" I'm like, yes, and it's awesome. And this is like the closest that I didn't think I would ever feel that type of feeling again. And this is the closest that I've had since of just that excitement. So it's why I'm like DLC, yes, please. Sequel, yes, please. MMO, another studio, yes, please. Like, just give us all the Wizarding World things, please.
Magic Awaken, FYI.
Oh yes.
I'm playing the beta now. That is multiplayer, and
where
they said it'll come out next year. So, but yeah, I'm playing the beta lasts till the 24th. So go on the fan Discord and try to download it. There's the APK stuff that you got to go through, but
does this one carry over, or is it still?
No, it's still one shot.
I don't think it's in Europe yet, is it?
It's the beta's in Norway, Switzerland, a couple of other European locations. So go check it out. Multiplayer, all that stuff.
Well, yeah, multiplayer. Ready to do the worldwide beta soon, but they said soon on a couple times.
Yeah. But
I think actually this experience making videos and also being in this community kind of taught me to like more multiplayer, I guess, because I have a very small circle. I don't like Alex said, I'm a loner. Mostly I don't go out. I can barely speak sometimes in videos, but and this really also changed my life kind of. And the fact that, them coming out, bringing James and like me, who like, I'm myself like, what? I can barely literally. I said like maybe 20 or 30 times during the showcase. So yeah, it's
So
incredible.
Ben, I asked James this. I interviewed him after his, and I know there's certain things you can't say, but I feel like you could probably answer this. Just talk us through your emotions, like when you, I don't know if you got an email, call, whatever. Just when you knew this was going to be a possibility. I mean, like what was going through your mind?
I passed away. I fell, woke up a little bit later. It was unbelievable, and it still is. Honestly, it still sort of feels like from the first moment they reached out, you're like, what? It's still like that.
That's awesome, dude.
And like Ben and I have been talking on and off about this for a while, so it's been nice to have like somebody else to kind of just lose our minds over, because like obviously NDAs, you can't really talk about it. Like I have Sue, but like it's not the same as like Ben and like knowing how Ben is, and like he's probably like screaming and broke the audio in his entire apartment or his phone. It's just cool.
I don't want to super analyze you, James, but the fact that you just said you and Ben have been talking about it and not a third person, and you did say earlier you didn't seem super confident on a third gameplay showcase. I wonder if this is actually it. And I'm only going to look at Retro because I've been saying it's going to be Retro the whole time.
Lemrick was popping on and off his microphone. We've been ignoring him for a bit.
Who was that? Who was popping on and off?
Lemrick.
Oh, what?
Were you trying to jump in? Sorry.
No, I wasn't.
We can't see your body language.
Subject.
I know. I love how Ben just changes the subject.
All I know is Professor Lynette's been pretty quiet. when they talk about things like that.
Listen,
Yeah.
they know where to find me, okay? If they want to talk to me, they know where to find me, you know?
send them the address for your plane tickets. I know. Yeah. They
I've
know
always said you gotta-
exactly where to find you.
You got to look at like the release schedule, like people that are very consistent or whatever, like their schedule would change. So when that schedule would change, retros, I feel
Yeah,
like which
y'all would
mine,
know.
I don't think mine. I think mine would be the easiest to read because I do like 5 videos a day. If
day.
there's
my
a day
God.
missing.
A day.
He didn't
Yeah.
upload today.
On like
Something's up.
20 different channels. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
So
yeah.
I'd be easy
It's a
to
miracle.
spot, but
He could
Well,
do
I
it
saw
on his phone.
people as soon as they announced it was Ben. So many people were like, "I knew
I
it.
knew it. I
Ben
knew
did.
it."
Ben said this, or Ben did this." I'm just like, "Oh my! All this analysis is amazing.
I was
I
like,
love
I
it
can't
though."
scratch my head or anything. Like, golly.
Head scratching confirmed.
it's
Oh,
special.
my.
That's and well, with that being said, and we're approaching hour 3, so I think we'll probably go down the list, say any kind of closing thoughts and goodbyes. But it's a special community, as just Retro Point. The fact that we are analyzing other YouTubers, which again, not like throwing people on their bus, but like who actually cares, like generally, is a very special thing. You know what I mean? Who else analyzes Hogwarts like who looks at God of War YouTubers? Like nobody does that. Nobody could care less. You know, so it's very cool. So with that being said, we are approaching hour 3. Let's go down the list. Let's you could shout out, you know, where you are and all that stuff, but just any final thoughts to the community. I would like to do, I mean, this was a quite the thing getting everybody together. I'd like to do something like this again when the game's out. I know I've talked about the Troy thing as well. So we'll try to do stuff, and I've tried to do, big groups in the past. So this won't be the last time, I imagine. But just to savor the moment, as James was talking about. So go on. We'll just go in order of me.
So yeah, less than 2 months. It's just mind blowing. It's getting my nerves. Like, oh god, we're gonna be able to do stuff on this soon. I can't just talk about it. I'm gonna have to play it. No, I just like speculating, but there's no stress there. But yeah, no, I'm at this moment in time though. It's half 1 here. I'm absolutely knackered. But yeah, just so excited now. January, just hope it flies by, and then we're into February, and it's gonna be finally here. It's surreal.
I can't wait for the game to come out. It's so close now, and hopefully we'll get a bit more in between now and then. But I just want to thank you all for inviting me to be part of this, and it's just been so much fun. And as I've said previously in the stream, like the community, all you guys, and the people in the chat and everything is just incredible. And I can't thank you enough for wanting to watch my videos to the point that I can get involved in stuff like this. It just blows my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that now I can actually go on vacation maybe for a week. Can I not do anything for no news and get ready for the ramp up to February? Because once that year turn happens, I feel like it's gonna be like hype. How hype can we go?
Vacation to Utah, any chance?
Oh, is that what I meant? Is that what I meant? No, I'm just really excited, and I'm really grateful to have met all of you. And I'm not gonna lie, even though James mentioned that we had covered Wizards Unite before this, I was honestly very intimidated to talk to some of y'all bigger channels, being like, oh, I am too small, no one wants to talk to me, it's fine. So it's just been really special to get to know y'all over the course of this time, and also the communities. And I love when our communities crisscross. It's like, oh, I saw you from this or that or whatever. So it's been so special to me. So I can't wait. I just can't wait.
Your vacation thing really has backfired in the chat.
Can't say anything.
You should have just not said it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Alex, for putting this together. This has been great. And I think, you guys were talking about how the hype will fall off. And that's true, but I'm also really excited for the community after launch, oh, I found this spell at this location, or here's the gear, and here's where you can find, and just that sort of dialogue. It's a different type of hype, but I'm excited for that sort of community as well.
Oh yeah, it will. I agree. It will evolve. It will be a different stage. It will be a different chapter of Hogwarts Legacy for sure. But it will. I think that it will live on. And yeah, I think as Lynette said about vacation, I think I would want one too, because you get to the part where you don't have life. You just keep constantly making content and paying attention to everything and trying to survive with your daytime job. It can be easy, but it gets you get the hype, and as James said, yeah, the community, meeting people and engaging with everyone, it's just that stays with you, and yeah, you can't change it for anything. So thank you also, Alex, for organizing all of this. This was insane. I'm excited to do this again, and yeah, happy for Hogwarts
Well,
Legacy.
and jumping in real fast, like, it's really, like, I'm just watching the chat go. It's really cool to see people say, like, "Hey, I knew you and you, but now I know all of you," or "I know you and you." I mean, that's super
That a little
sweet.
bit
I'll
too.
just throw that out
And I just want to echo Ben as well, Alex, mate. I think making content in itself, Ben, as you just said, like with a full-time job, and then like for example, I've been feeling sick, so I haven't been making anything fairly recently, and it all kind of like piles up on you. But I think when you have someone like Alex, when you really go out of the way to try and bring everybody together as a kind of glue to have these events, that really kind of like gives me a massive buzz. And I think you need to have a pat yourself on the back, mate, because like if you hadn't have kind of like DM'd or got everybody or chased people up for all of the timings and got this all set up, and this goes for all the other streams as well, dude, we wouldn't have had like so many of these amazing conversations, and we wouldn't have got to know each other a little bit better. And obviously going forward, I'm really, really very much looking forward to having more conversations and hearing what all of you think about the game and what we see next. Like, that's all part of the fun, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So we've already discussed community. I love it. I'm very grateful to be on this stream. I'm very, very grateful to be invited. So thank all of you. I'm very much looking forward to making more content and watching all of your content, because I am subscribed to every single one of you, and I watch every one of your videos, especially over the last month where it's been a bit hectic for me. So thanks to all of you. I've had such a wonderful, lovely time, and I'm very much looking forward to the next couple of months. The game, of course, but more so listening to what you have to say and what everybody else has to say in chat as well. So cheers, everyone.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to echo everything everybody said. I mean, this is a dream come true for me. We've talked about this last time, but we just kind of started this as a passion project, something talking about a game we all liked and talking about a franchise we all kind of grew up with. I mean, mental health is a real thing, and the Harry Potter franchise kind of helped me get over a lot of those things. And I mean, I'm the smallest channel here, and I couldn't be more grateful for everyone accepting me through that. With that being said, I am going to plug a little bit. I do have a video coming out tomorrow. But with that being said, my friend who was a DJ at my wedding just got diagnosed with rectal cancer.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
I am going to be tweeting out a link to a GoFundMe for him. If anybody would want to donate or retweet or anything like that, please feel free to help him out. He doesn't have very good insurance, and he just found out the news yesterday. He's 25. So
wow, Lumos.
That's crazy.
Very sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, that 3 hours flew by. Like, I did not anticipate. I didn't think I was going to be able to stay on for the whole time, but that 3 hours just went like that, because it's one thing to talk to you guys on Twitter, and I try to interact with a lot of you and check out your live streams and leave comments on videos, but it's a whole nother thing when you're actually getting to interact with each other in real time like this. So I echo everything you guys have said just about this whole community aspect. And one other thing I'll say, I mean, you're talking about Nightly Nerd, you're the smallest one. I honestly have no idea your subscriber numbers. I'm just like, these people make great videos. So like everyone who's in the chat right now, check out these other creators. I see a lot of times people saying, you can have your favorites, that's fine, but there's this big misconception. Like, this was a huge unlock for me with YouTube. It's like that it's this competition, right? And you feel like, oh,
right,
this video got that many views, and why didn't my video get as much views as that one? But when you figure out, like the big unlock for me is like YouTube has this. There, first of all, billions of people every day watching YouTube. There's plenty of people to go around. But any one of us on this stream right now succeeding actually helps all of the others
Everybody else,
succeed.
yep.
The way that YouTube's recommendation system works, the more people that are interested in Hogwarts Legacy, they have even more of a chance of finding any one of us on this stream. So don't be, have your favorites, absolutely, but support these other folks. Check out their videos. And Alex has talked a lot about before. It's like amazing. I mean, with so many people on this stream, we all kind of have a unique flavor, a unique perspective, something different that we bring to the table. I mean, it really is watching all your videos to see how we will approach something from a different angle, or James will spot some page in a book and just like take it to a whole nother level that nobody else would have thought of. But we all have our little thing like that, so I appreciate you having me on as well, Alex. I'm so glad I was able to make it, and great to talk with you all in person, virtual, whatever you want to call it. And then shout out to Troy as well for that video he sent was awesome. So
Definitely.
Again, echoing what everybody is saying. First, thanks, Alex. To do this, I live stream scared the mess out of me, so that's why I'm always like chaotic during our Wednesdays. So for you to organize and put this together, Alex, and just reaching out and like, hey, let's talk. I love that. I appreciate that. And now knowing that's not who you are really, I'm just like, yo, I'm proud of you for doing that. So that's so clutch. But thank you, all of you guys, the content creators. We look up to you guys. Sue sent me a message. Did you see so and so's video today? I was like, no, I was doing this. I'll check it out. We all watch you guys stuff, like Retro said. But I think the big thing for Sue and I was just acceptance. You guys accepting us and who we are. Sometimes I might lay on the couch because we disagree about classes or whatever. But just you guys just being just so open and honest and sharing your excitement and enthusiasm, just like chat says, encourages us to ride that enthusiasm train and talk more. And is a comfort level there when I watch your videos or engage with you guys live and even with chat and stuff, that this is a safe place. I can be myself. I can share my fandom and not have to worry about judgment, no matter who I am, what I look like, how I act, where I come from. We're all fans of this game first and foremost, and everything else is blossomed from that. So just thank you for just being who you guys are, and continued success to everybody, because you guys are a success just by stepping out and doing something that still is not the norm for a lot of people. So lumos to you all, and I cannot wait to get a break because I need one right now. So.
Well, I want to thank you guys. I mean, I thank you for the thanks you gave me, but honestly, too, it's all of you. I mean, this over the years of seeing you all and kind of compiling it all, but also people from around the world here staying up incredibly late to give them credit. Andy, who's dying, to give him credit. The bottom two, who's watching kids on their own, to give them credit. I mean, honestly, it's very special, and I appreciate you guys. Trusting in me to even do it, because some of you guys have bigger videos than me and all that stuff. So I really do appreciate you guys coming onto the stream and making it something special. I really do. So thank you. And as I've always said, thank the community. You guys rock. Again, it's not what gaming journalists think. You guys are some of the nicest, kindest, down-to-earth people, out there. So again, this hopefully should not be, the last time. I know I've done kind of like single streams, and all of a bunch of you guys have linked up together as well in your own little mini pocket. So make sure you guys are checking them all out. All their @ signs are in the description. If you just click, and we've seen, some of them know some of you, but not all of you. Give them a like, a follow on videos and all that stuff. But thank you guys all for being here. We will do more of these live streams in the future, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers. See you